He's KSVIP. Well, I don't have a name for today, and I need your help. If you know someone who needs to be recognized for being a very special person, call right now, 746-2751. Ask for Tana and schedule a KSVIP. Your special someone will be recognized at this time all day long on their day, and they'll receive a flower courtesy of Lovebud Floral in Artesia. So call today and schedule your KSVIP.
Just too white and nerdy. Can't you see I'm white and nerdy? Look at me, I'm white and nerdy. I wanna roll with the gangsters, but so far they all think I'm too white and nerdy. I'm just too white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white and nerdy. I'm just too white and nerdy, really white and nerdy. My class there at MIT got skills. I'm a champion of D&D.
Hey, good morning, and welcome once again to the Good Morning Artesia radio show. We are getting ready for... What is today? Tuesday. Is today Tuesday? Today is Tuesday. It is the 12th of July as we get rolling through the month here. Gosh, we're already almost halfway through the month. We get to the end of this week. We'll be halfway through the month of July. That's what we know that's going on. Glad you could be with us today. Hope you're surviving the heat wave and everything else that's associated with it. Coming up on the show today, this is what we are scheduled to have today. A couple of these things are confirmed, but this is what we're scheduled to have today. Eddy County Fair update at 7:45, and we're about 2 weeks away from the start of the Eddy County Fair, so that's pretty exciting. Talked to Haley yesterday. She's going to be representing the Chamber of Commerce today in the 8 o'clock hour for Chamber Chat. If I look back through my phone history, I've got 29 phone calls from Ryder Champion. And Ryder Champion is going to be chatting with us on the radio today at about 9:10 or so this morning. Ryder always likes to come on the air and say hi to everybody in Artesia, let them know what's going on in Ryder's life. So we'll chat with Ryder. That'll be about 9:10 this morning. And then I've reached out to, because I've got it on my schedule, second Tuesday of the month, to get an update on how things are going with the Artesia Literacy Council. So I've reached out to June Marie, see if she's available to come on and give us an update there. So half of our guests are confirmed. I'm pretty certain 3/4 of our guests are confirmed. And hopefully all of our guests will be able to join us today. So that'll be good. We'll chat with Aaron Irving. I have a user-submitted list of Yogi Berra phrases, which are always great. Younger people probably have no idea what Yogi Berra is. They may not even know the cartoon Yogi Bear. And I'm realizing more and more of that as I get older. Things that I think everybody should know about or at least be familiar with or have heard of are getting more and more obscure and in the background. And if I say Yogi Bear and Boo Boo, is it Boo Boo? I think was a little bear. And the picnic basket, you get glazed eyes and stares at, what on earth are you talking about? That makes no sense. I don't know what you're talking about. That's crazy. And it's getting to be that way with a lot of things that I remember from pop culture when I was younger. Things like the MASH TV series. I wonder how many people remember, and I think the record is still the record. The last episode of MASH, I think, still holds the record as the most watched television event in television viewership history. More so than Super Bowls and Obama's inauguration. Everything else that we're told are more popular things, as our entertainment world has become more and more fractured and more split up, and there's now more and more choices. I mean, I'll watch things on the interwebs. I'll be watching something on the YouTube videos or Peacock or Amazon Prime or something like that, Paramount Plus, and they'll start out some of the things I watch with commercials for upcoming shows and series. And I go, well, what network is that on? Oh, it's Hulu Plus. Or what TV network greenlighted that? Oh, it's on, Paramount Plus. So there's so much entertainment, so much content that's out there now that I don't know that we'll ever see anything along the lines of what we saw. But as we move forward and we get further and further past and beyond those particular events and the way our culture has evolved over the past generation, there's going to be fewer and fewer people that are going to know what on earth you're talking about. So if we do some Yogi Berra quotes, I know Yogi Berra was a New York Yankee, and you probably know that Yogi Berra was a New York Yankee, and we both probably know that Yogi Berra was known for some of his nonsensical, non sequitur quotes that he may have known exactly what he was saying, but the rest of us had no real clue what he was saying. It's almost like Joe Biden speaks. Gutfeld played that clip of Biden when he said, quote, and this is a quote now, and he read the quote, and then he said, unquote, repeat the line, which was what was on the teleprompter. And it's almost like we're looking at a Ron Burgundy presidency. Ron Burgundy was a character played by Will Ferrell in a couple of Anchorman movies. And one of the jokes about the character Ron Burgundy in the Anchorman movie, especially the first one, was that whatever you put on the teleprompter, Ron Burgundy would read. Even if it was something insulting to the people of San Diego or some other deal. You put a question mark at the end of the sentence, he's going to read it as a question, even though it wasn't a question, it was a statement. And it's almost like we're seeing that with the Biden presidency. I mentioned the other day that Trump was in Alaska, gave a big rally up there. He wants to get rid of Lisa Murkowski, who's the senator from Alaska, who's no big fan of Trump, and Trump feels betrayed him as a senator and is not of the Make America Great, America First wave or group of people, voting bloc. And one of the things that he said, he called Elon Musk a BS artist. And that may or may not be true. I mean, certainly SpaceX is not BS. That's had a lot of success, and the government has used SpaceX for satellite launches. The Starlink satellite network, apparently for a lot of people in RVs and boats and in very rural areas of the world, Starlink is their lifeline to the internet and connection to the world. He's been working on his boring company to build tunnels underneath major cities for transportation. I mean, he's got a lot of interesting ideas. And then the car company, Tesla, the car company, which manufactures battery electric automobiles in an effort to, quote unquote, save the planet. And we've had this discussion before. Is an electric car, the process of manufacturing an electric car, the batteries and everything else, is that truly ultimately what's best for the environment? But the only thing that a battery electric car does is eliminate emissions at the tailpipe of the vehicle that's being driven. That's the only thing that's environmentally friendly about an electric car. There's nothing else about an electric car that's environmentally friendly. From the materials that are used, to the rubber products that require petroleum, to the rare earth minerals that have to be mined, that are under control of foreign countries like China, that are used in the manufacturing of the batteries. I mean, we're basically turning over our entire basic infrastructure to the Chinese, who could wake up one day and say, we're done with you guys, we're taking over. And if the Chinese do that, which they most likely could do, we're not going to have any oil, we're not going to have any manufacturing, we're not going to have any products, we're not going to have any materials. You think some of the shortages that we've been encountering now are bad. Wait till we've turned everything over to the Chinese, and they decide that they want to be the world dominant player and that they'll let us have what we want, but at a much higher cost. I mean, it could just cripple and destroy this entire economy and country because we don't make anything here. We have all the natural resources we need to be completely independent from the rest of the world. We have nuclear, we have coal, we have natural gas, we have oil, we have rare earth minerals, we have oceans, we have lakes, we have rivers, we have vast land for farming. I mean, we have everything we need within the borders of the United States of America to basically tell the rest of the world, go take a short walk off, a long walk off a short pier. We don't need you. We don't care about you. Don't mess with us or our interests, or we'll smack you down and kill you. Just leave us alone. And if you want to buy our stuff, we'll be happy to sell our stuff to you. Because we have enough capacity that not only can we take care of our own population, we could take care of the rest of the world. But the leadership and the people that are in charge and the young people coming out of colleges don't think that way, and they look at American history in a very negative light. And so we basically have, for a number of reasons, we've outsourced our country. And at some point in time, the Chinese are going to say, you want your stuff? Here's what you're going to have to pay. Or here's what you're going to have to let us do. You want your stuff? We're taking over Taiwan. You think all that military hardware that was left in Afghanistan is still sitting on fields in Afghanistan being run by the Taliban? No. The Chinese and the Russians have gotten a hold of it. And there's other aspects of it as well. But anyway, the electric car thing, some people may call that BS. Yet the whole industry is moving in that direction. Automotive manufacturers, whether it's GM, Chrysler, Ford, Toyota, they're all moving in the direction of developing battery electric vehicles or some kind of all-electric vehicle to save the planet. And so we're going to reach a point here in the not-too-distant future where it's going to be the choices that we have to buy for how our vehicles are propelled are going to get shifted in a way that maybe we're not ready for. In any case, so in the mind of Trump, he looks at that and considers Elon Musk a BS artist. Now, Trump claims that Elon told him that Elon voted for Trump. Elon has now responded and said he didn't vote for Trump. The first time he voted for a Republican, this is what Elon Musk has said, is the first time he voted for a Republican was for the young lady that ran for Congress around San Antonio, that Republican Hispanic naturalized U.S. citizen that Elon says first Republican he ever voted for, which apparently was news to Trump because Trump said that Elon said to Trump that he had voted for him. Elon's response to being called out as a BS artist by Trump was to say, I don't have anything against the guy, but I think he's too old to run for president. I think we need to have an age cap on the max age that one can be to run for president of the United States. And his point is, how old is Joe Biden now? 78? He'd be 80 years old if he runs for re-election in 2 years. He'd be 84 when he left the presidency. Trump, I think, is 79. Or he'd be 78 or 79. Anyway, he'd upper 70s. He'd be up there in years. He'd be 72 or 73. Not 72 or 73. Anyway, he'd be up there in years at the end of his second term if he were to run and get elected. And the impression I got from reading the text that Elon Musk had put out was that Elon sounds like the kind of guy that would support Ron DeSantis. And so this is going to bring, and DeSantis is much, much younger than Trump or Biden or Hillary or any of these people whose names have been thrown around as potential candidates for president in 2024. I think it's just eating up Trump that he lost to Biden. He's looking at Biden, how incompetent he is, how old fool he is, how he's destroying the country, or the people around Biden are destroying the country. And Trump is just eaten up with anger and disappointment over the fact that he lost. Trump's a competitor, first of all, and foremost. And he cannot, he's having a lot of difficulty accepting that he lost to this guy. And a lot of us are having difficulty accepting the fact that he lost to that guy. Because, again, I've said this publicly, I've said this privately. There's no way, no one ever will convince me that 81 million living, breathing, conscious, registered, legal voters voted for Joe Biden. It didn't happen, okay? Call me a conspiracy wacko or whatever. I'm telling you, 81 sentient human beings did not cast ballots for Joe Biden in the last presidential election. Did not happen. A lot of paper ballots were forged or printed or created or stuffed or whatever, but a lot of people that voted weren't legally eligible to vote, in my opinion. But 81 million people did not vote for Joe Biden, and nobody's going to convince me otherwise in the past election. So I understand where the anger and the disappointment is, but there are a lot of people, and maybe Elon Musk is in that category, that are not completely left-wing radical whack jobs, and they're a little more towards the moderate left politically, that would probably vote for DeSantis, but don't want the bull in the china shop drama that would come every day with a Trump presidency. And so that's what's going to be interesting to see, because right now, the polling, the approval rating for Biden is so low right now. It's historically low for a president at any point in their term of office, that you would think that anyone running against Joe Biden would win in 2024. But as we saw in the last presidential election, you just can't go by what the polls tell us or don't tell us, or what your friends in your coffee shop discussions are. It's there's a lot of factors that are involved in all of that. And so there's a lot of people that are probably really, really upset that they voted for Biden, maybe even regret that they voted for Biden. I'm not counting the ones that, the bots, if you will. But then they look at how good things were under Trump, and the things were much, much better under Trump. But they sit there and go, do we really want that for another 4 years? Because the Democrats are going to go after him. The Rhino Republicans are not going to want to work with him. If the Republicans take over the Senate and the House, is Mitch McConnell going to be the best person to have running the Senate, working with Donald Trump if Donald Trump were to get the presidency? Is McCarthy, the House, who's everybody predicts would be the Speaker of the House when the Republicans take over the House, which I really think they're going to do? Is he the best ally of the Trumpian way, the America First way of thinking that happens? Because how many times has it happened in the past? Going back to Newt Gingrich's contract with America. How many times have the people been elected that said they were going to do, seal the border and blah, 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 blah. And they get up there into Congress and it's not exactly how we do things up here. And you just get frustrated and mad and you say, I don't want to vote anymore. It doesn't make any difference, blah, blah, blah. And, so even if Trump were to get in, unless he fires everyone at the Justice Department, and I mean everyone, unless if Trump were to get elected, unless he walks into the Department of Justice and just fires everyone. He can't just appoint another attorney general. He'd have to fire everyone at the FBI. He'd have to fire everyone at the State Department. He'd have to fire everyone at all these departments, Education Department, Interior, the whole thing. He'd have to fire the entire federal government if we're ever going to turn the bureaucracy around, because everything's been turned over to the bureaucracy. And the bureaucracies have gotten so big and so huge and so intrusive on everything that we do, full of career government employees who, for the most part, lay low so that they don't get their jobs cut by whoever is running the White House at the time. But they do have agendas, and they don't like Trump any more than anybody else in the Rhino Republicans or the Democrats like Trump. And so how many times did we see this? You know, Obama would issue a executive order and everybody would comply. Trump comes along to undo the executive order and he gets taken to court. And, now you got Biden doing executive orders, undoing the executive orders that Trump did to undo the executive orders of Obama. And the only reason this is going on is because the Congress doesn't comply or do its job. And so you wonder, again, at the end of the day, even if Trump were to get reelected, he'd have to literally fire the entire governmental operation, the entire bureaucracy. He'd have to fire everyone before we might actually see a change in the course of how these agencies are run and how the government runs. And I don't know if that could happen. I really don't know. But I wouldn't have a problem with that. I'd be all in on that. I'm not saying shut the government down. I'm just saying fire everybody. And then start replacing the positions with 25% less personnel and people that believe in the America First movement. That would be interesting. Well, let's go ahead and get rolling. It's going to be another hot one today. Steve, what do you have on our weather forecast?
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Looks pretty hot today, mostly sunny, and our afternoon high around 100, maybe low 100s. Partly cloudy for the overnight hours, and our lows near 70, and then we're in the upper 90s and low 100s with sunshine coming up again on Wednesday. Wednesday night, few clouds down to 72, and then we heat up again on Thursday and Friday, back up to about 100 and sunny. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
We've got the sunshine, 76 degrees, on our way to 100 today. Humidity is at 55%. The dew point is 59 degrees. Winds are northerly at 13. Pressure 29.94 and inching upwards. Our air quality index is 67. We have moderate air quality. High, let's see, we didn't get the highs and lows yet. The sunset will be at 8:07 this afternoon. The sunrise will be at 5:59 in the morning. Around the region, we've got sunshine, 78 in Carlsbad, 74 in Roswell, 76 in Hobbs. Around New Mexico, partly cloudy, 74 in Albuquerque, 64 in Santa Fe. Mostly sunny, 54 in Cloudcroft, sunny and 63 in Ruidoso, 77 in Las Cruces, 69 in Farmington, 48 at Red River, partly cloudy and 70 in Clovis, 77 in Lubbock, and again here in Artesia, the sun is shining, 75 degrees. Let's look at our lunch menus, what the kids are going to be chomping on for foodstuffs today. At the summer meal program, it'll be beef tacos, lettuce, tomato, raspberries, and milk. So a bunch of kids are going to be running around going. So it's beef tacos today at the summer meal program. Senior meal site today, fried chicken, mac and cheese, coleslaw, garlic bread, and some watermelon. So it's fried chicken today at the senior meal site. At the Artesia Senior Center today, it's going to be exercise video at 8:15, the woodworkers at 9:30. Line dancers at 9:30. Hand and foot at 10 o'clock. Then after lunch, it'll be ceramics and sewing. Those classes at 1 o'clock. Poker at 2 o'clock. Exercise video at 4. And the stained glass class is tonight. Ooh, and I just saw the note. There's no woodworking today. So I wrote that note down on this date. I didn't want to write it up here because this is for every month, every Tuesday. But there will not be any woodworking today. So I did remember my note here. It's also Watch Battery Day today, and that'll be from 9 to 11. If you've got a watch or two that needs to have some batteries replaced, the folks will be there to sell the batteries and help you with the swap out of the batteries, get those old watches running again. That'll be 9 to 11 today. And then the craft sale is this afternoon at 1 o'clock. And everyone is welcome to come out. They'll have burritos, tamales, kitchen towels, aprons, woodcraft, crochet, purses, jewelry, baked goods, candy, Christmas decorations, handmade greeting cards, quilts, jams and jelly, paintings, and a whole lot more. So the Senior Center craft sale is today, 1 to 7 p.m. Go by and pick up some craft goods from the folks there at the Senior Center. I think you'll get a kick out of that. Library today, story time and craft for the kiddos. That's at 10 o'clock. Seahorses will be the craft for the kiddos today. The teen activity will be paper mache fish. Paper mache fish. I wonder if you could make like a bass out of paper mache, and you can present that to Joby and say, here's a fish. See if that'll weigh in and help you win a tournament. Family history tonight, 7 o'clock at the Artesia Public Library. Birthdays today. We've got Julie Almanza, Ricardo McCaney, Alphonse Garcia, and Dolly Luvano, all celebrating birthdays today on this 12th day of July. So happy birthday to Julie, Ricardo, Alphonse, and Dolly, all celebrating birthdays today. All right, we'll be back. Look at some other items happening around town. That's coming up next on Good Morning Artesia.
How do you make the most of your land? Shaw does it behind the wheel of a John Deere 1025R compact tractor, as he does everything to make.
My yard looks as beautiful as I possibly can.
But the Hubbards use their 1025R because
we really are trying to create this homestead.
There are millions of ways to make the most of your land. How will you make the most of yours? Nothing runs like a Deere.
Stop by Pecos Valley Equipment in Artesia and Roswell, or visit us online at pecosvalleyequipment.com.
You know what happens in the spring. It's cleanup time, and AC&B, HF Sinclair, Navajo Refining, and the Artesia basketball team are at it again to help clean up our community. The basketball boys will come to your house and haul off items that you need to dispose of and have no way of hauling. The dates for pickup are July 16th and July 23rd. Just call 575-513-0143 and let me know what, when, and where. Take advantage of this free service and let's make Artesia clean and beautiful.
Hey Artesia, Cambria here from your local Artesia KFC Taco Bell. Feed the whole fam with our amazing new deal, our 10-piece leg and thigh feast for only $31.99. It includes 2 mashed potatoes and gravy, slaw, and 5 buttermilk biscuits. All this amazing food for only $31.99. You've got to try it. You can also add on either 4 crispy tenders or a chocolate or lemon cake for only $5.55 more. We hope to see you soon at your local Artesia KFC Taco Bell in Artesia.
Good morning, this is Smiley Wooten at the Roswell Livestock Auction. 872 head of cattle sold on Monday on an uneven market with excellent buyer tenants. Compared to last week, stocker calves sold steady. Feeder cattle 2 to 4 higher, packer cows and bulls 1 to 3 lower. 3 to 400 pound steers 205, 214. 3 to 400 pound heifers 171, 174. 4 to 500 pound steers 189, 205. 4 to 500 pound heifers 171, 173. 5 to 600 pound steers 179, 189. 5 to 600 pound heifers 164, 173. 6 700 pound steers 155, 179. 6 700 pound heifers 138, 164. 7 800 pound steers 135, 155. 7 800 pound heifers 130, 138. Packer cows 83 to 90 and a half. Canner and cutter cows 75 to 80. Packer bulls 90 to 101.50. feeder bulls $70 to $80. Top half the cow-calf pairs $1,100 to $1,400 per pair. Top half the bred cows $1,000 to $1,235 per head. We do appreciate the business, and we'll talk to you next Monday morning. This is Smiley Wooten, Roswell Livestock Auction.
Don't know why.
Be nice if we had some stormy weather, maybe. Reminder, the craft sale at the Senior Center is today. That's 1 to 7 this afternoon. We mentioned that earlier. Vitalent is still looking for donors to donate blood. There is a critical blood shortage right now. And if you donate blood through Vitalent through the 20th of this month, there will be in a drawing to win one of three $3,000 prepaid gift cards. So please donate blood if you can. They're going to be in Carlsbad today at the United Way of Eddy County Boys and Girls Club gym. And that'll be from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. On Thursday, they'll be doing events in Roswell, the Battle of the Badges, at the Chamber of Commerce Conference Room on Thursday and Friday, 1 to 6 on Thursday, 9 to 1 on Friday. And then on Saturday, the Bloodmobile will be here in Artesia. They'll be out at the Walmart from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. They'll have the Bloodmobile parked over there on Saturday from 11 to 3. As always, if you have any questions or you'd like to schedule your appointment, you can call or text Stephanie at 575-840-8178, 575-840-8178. Republican headquarters in Artesia will be open today, Tuesday. They'll be there from 11 a.m. until 6-ish or so. They are located at 402 West Main in the suite behind Farm Bureau Financial Services. So you walk in the front door, walk down the hall. It's the second door on the left right before you get into the safety folks there at the end of the hallway. You can get literature, merchandise, signs, and register to vote if you haven't registered to vote. New Hope Baptist Church is having their family game show Vacation Bible Time. Today is Fear Factor. That's at 8 o'clock tonight. Traveling Dumpsters are over at the Bulldog Bowl parking lot. They'll be there through the 17th. So I think that kind of covers stuff happening today and over the next couple of days. So let's see what else Jared's got for you. We've got a Kim Commando tech tip for Tuesday. That's all coming up next here on Good Morning Artesia.
Now for a Pecos Valley news update. I'm Jared Cirillo. A local teenager arrested and charged with multiple criminal counts in connection with the Sunday evening shooting of a store manager. The store manager fought with the teen after seeing him in the process of shoplifting gun ammunition. 16-year-old Jeremiah Martinez is accused of using the gun he concealed in his pants to shoot the manager of the Big R store in the 1300 block of South Main Street in Roswell. The store owner is in stable condition at a hospital today. A former New Mexico police officer charged with murder in a man's death during a 2020 struggle with officers did not properly use a chokehold that gradually ended the man's life. That's according to a prosecutor who told jurors Monday in the opening statements at the ex-officer's trial. Las Cruces police officer Christopher Smelzer had told investigators he had difficulty in applying the lateral vascular neck restraint on Antonio Valenzuela because the man kept tucking his chin. But he eventually did carry out the maneuver by sliding his arm under Valenzuela's chin when he lifted his head. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo reporting.
Lowell's Pharmacy is your locally owned and operated Artesia Community Pharmacy. We have served Artesia for over 50 years. Our pharmacists know there's nothing more important than your family's well-being, and we're always ready to answer your health questions. We honor most prescription plans, including Medicare. At Lowell's Pharmacy, we're always trying to bring something new to our community. Immunizations, pro-time testing, cholesterol testing, and more. Come see why a local pharmacy is best for taking care of your family. Lowell's Pharmacy, across from the hospital on North 13th in Artesia.
You may have noticed that those irritating car warranty robocalls have suddenly stopped. Here's why. I'm Kim Commando, brought to you by T-Mobile. Their advanced network now goes farther than ever before. Visit T-Mobile.com/55 today. For a while, I was receiving 3 or 4 car warranty robocalls every day. All claimed that my car warranty was about to expire. It wasn't, by the way. The calls, 8 billion of them a year, were actually coming from a Panama-based company owned by 2 characters, Roy Cox and Aaron Michael Jones. Initially, the calls couldn't be stopped, because Panama is outside the Federal Communication Commission's jurisdiction. It took some time, but the FCC found another way. Late last week, the commission ordered all telephone companies, whether wired or cellular, to immediately stop delivering the calls to your phone. Creative legal maneuvering, for which we are all appreciative. Hey, get my daily longer podcast, perfect for walks and commutes. It's called Kim Commando Today. Does it make sense that the same company who controls half of all online retail also passively eavesdrops on your private conversations at home? What about the idea that a single company controls 90% of internet searches, runs your email service, and gets to track everything you do on your smartphone? Big tech is powerful, and they profit by exploiting your personal data. It's time to put a layer of protection between your online activity and those tech juggernauts. When you run ExpressVPN on your device, the software hides your IP address, making your activity harder to trace and sell to advertisers. ExpressVPN also encrypts all your internet data to keep you safe from hackers without slowing your connection. Just download the app on your phone or computer, tap one button, and you're protected. Go to expressvpn.com/Kim to get an extra 3 months free on a 1-year package. That's expressvpn.com/Kim to get 3 extra months for free. That address again, expressvpn.com/Kim.
Turpinning and Son Mortuary of Artesia presents a listing of today's obituaries. We do not have any new announcements to pass along to you today. This listing has been presented as a service of Turpinning and Son Mortuary of Artesia, where we make it personal. Well, let's pop over to the Weather Center. Steve-O, get in here. What kind of forecast can we expect for today?
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Looks pretty hot today, mostly sunny, and our afternoon high around 100, maybe low 100s. Partly cloudy for the overnight hours, and our lows near 70, and then we're in the upper 90s and low 100s with sunshine coming up again on Wednesday. Wednesday night, few clouds down to 72, and then we heat up again on Thursday and Friday, back up to about 100 and sunny. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Sunshine, 76 on the out of doors, on our way up to 100 today. I see a lot of hundreds over the next 10 days. 100 today, 99 tomorrow, 100 Thursday and Friday, 101 on Saturday, 100 on Sunday, 99 Monday, 100 Tuesday and Wednesday, 99 on Thursday. Maybe we'll get this hot weather out of our system and it'll cool off a little bit when we get to the Eddy County Fair. That would be nice. The humidity is at 55%. The dew point is 59 degrees. Our winds are northerly at 13. Pressure's at 29.94. Our air quality is 67. We have moderate air quality. Sunset at 8:07 today. Sunrise at 5:59 in the morning. Let's see what will be affecting the markets on the Wall Street Business Report and Ken Ham feature. And then we'll be talking Eddy County Fair coming up next on Good Morning Artesia.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander. Frontier Airlines, facing likely defeat in its bid to merge with Spirit Airlines, says it is done with a bidding war and is asking for another delay and a shareholder vote on the deal. The Frontier CEO said in a letter made public Monday that his airline is very far from winning approval by Spirit shareholders, who are weighing a higher price buyout offer from JetBlue Airways. A shareholder vote at Spirit, already postponed 3 times, is scheduled for Friday. A major natural gas pipeline from Russia to Western Europe shut down Monday for annual maintenance as Germany prepared to give the green light for 10 coal-fired power plants to restart because of concerns that Russia may not resume the flow of gas as scheduled. The Nord Stream 1 pipeline runs under the Baltic Sea from Russia and is Germany's main source of Russian gas. Gas is usually sent onward to other countries as well. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander in Washington.
If you need a Kubota that works and plays hard, stop looking. You'll find everything you need at Amigo Machinery. When it comes to tough Kubota tractors, mowers, construction equipment, and utility vehicles, all with low-rate financing, Amigo Machinery is your one-stop shop. We are passionately committed to providing our customers with the highest quality products, most innovative solutions, and services delivered with integrity and professionalism. Stop by Amigo Machinery in Roswell or see us online online at amigo-machinery.com.
Welcome to Answers with Ken Ham, presented by the Coalition of Christians for Biblical Creation and Fulkerson Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. CCBC is an interdenominational coalition of Christians from Artesia who believe that the account of origins presented in Genesis is a simple but factual presentation of actual events. Answers with Ken Ham is brought to you by Fulkerson Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, your best bet yet for great service. For over 41 years, thousands of customers have chosen Fulkerson. Call 622-1600 or visit www.fulkersonplumbing.com. Now, today's Answers with Ken Ham.
Death before sin? This is Ken Ham, an Aussie transplant with a passion for sharing the truth of God's Word. There are many Christians who've adopted the idea of evolutionary creation. Really, this just means they believe God created using the process of evolution. But there's a big problem with this thinking. You see, Genesis tells us God's original creation was very good, free from death and suffering. And yet evolution requires millions of years of death and disease to work. So how could God use a process of death to create in a world that was very good? It simply doesn't match with what the scripture teaches. Also, if God had to use millions of years of death to create, that makes him out to be an incompetent creator, not the all-powerful God of the Bible.
Discover more about Genesis and the truth of God's Word when you visit us at AnswersRadio.com and subscribe to receive free daily email insights from Ken at AnswersRadio.com.
Welcome back on the Good Morning Artesia radio show. And as we're building up our excitement for the Eddy County Fair, we've been speaking with folks from the fair the last couple of weeks, and Kevin Klein is with us this morning. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, Gene. Sorry I couldn't make it into the studio and had to call in, but I happy to be on the radio anyhow.
No, we're happy to do it. And I think Jeffrey found a picture of you from something somewhere. So if you're watching online, there's a looks like you.
Well, I could. I hope it looks good. I doubt it does.
No, it looks fine. This is a busy time as, let's see, you told me you are the general livestock superintendent. And so how are the livestock numbers looking for this year's Eddy County Fair?
The numbers, I haven't actually seen the complete entries yet, but from what we validated with tagging and everything, I think we're pretty much on par, or maybe a little bit higher than we've been the last couple of years. So I can't tell you the exact numbers, but it's pretty comparable to what we've been the last couple of years.
And I know you've shown animals. You have family that has shown animals. Your family's been a big part of that for years and years. To get an animal ready for the Eddy County Fair, when does that process start for one of these kids?
Well, it varies a little bit by species, but these kids, they spend quite a bit of time getting these things ready. So like your kids that you'll see showing the market steers and the breeding heifers and market heifers, those cattle, those beef cattle, they start getting those things. They would have started buying their projects for this year in October, November of last year. So they have those things at the house and on feed for quite a while. The lambs, goats, and pigs are usually purchased between February and April in the spring of this year. And then the dairy heifers would be around the same time as those. And then your smaller animals like the poultry and the rabbits would be, they have those for about, I think about 60 days. So they probably were buying those in May and even into June. 45 to 60 days is, that's just smaller animals. They grow faster and they reach their end point faster, so they don't have those quite as long.
Yeah.
And the yearling horses, those as well, would have been purchased back in the winter, probably in December, January, February.
And I'm sure the way the economy, we hear about feed prices and inflation and other things, those factors also affect what it costs these kids and these families to get these animals raised and ready for the fair, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. I mean, the animals that the kids buy to try to compete, and because it is a competition, and so they go look for sort of premier type animals, and the animals start out kind of more expensive than a normal, just a normal cow or a pig, and then with the feed cost going up, just like everything else right now, the feed has definitely gone up quite a bit. I think it's probably somewhere 30 to 40% higher than it was last year, and so it's these kids are really having to dig in their pockets to get these things fed and ready for the fair this year for sure.
That's right. So when do animals start coming into the fairgrounds this year? I know the fair itself starts on the 26th, but in the weekend before that's when that starts happening, right?
Yeah. Last year we actually sort of changed our schedule, and we stuck with that. In the past, all the animals would have moved in on Sunday. Last year and then again this year, the animals will all move in on Monday. So before the fair officially opens, we bring all the animals in Monday before noon. We have a little meeting with all the kids, just go over the rules and make sure everybody's clear on everything. And then we do all of our weigh-ins would be on Monday afternoon, and then Tuesday morning before the fair actually opens. We are getting all those animals weighed and everything so that we can have our classes figured out. And we try to do all that before we officially open the fair, because it involves so much movement of the animals all at one time, and just so before we're open to the public, behind the scenes, we're getting all of that done.
Right, and then of course it culminates with the livestock sale on Saturday night, and last year that moved from a Saturday morning event to a Saturday night event. What's been the reaction to that change in the schedule? It looked to me like it was very well received.
It was, I think. I think it was really well received. And then, in the past, we've been accustomed to feeding our buyers and our exhibitors breakfast. And changing that to an evening meal, and the way our schedule works with our awards and everything, it got a little congested there, and it started a little bit late, and it went a little bit late. So the only complaints that we really had, I think, was just how late that it went.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I think it was really well accepted. We set a record for our sale, the highest it's ever been, the most money we've ever raised for these kids, and so we're going to stick with that again this year. But we have made some changes to hopefully get started on time, or even a little earlier, and it's on the schedule just a little bit earlier, and we plan on starting on time this year and hopefully have that thing done a little earlier. But yeah, I think the evening sale was definitely a hit, and we're gonna stick with that. So once all the kids that are successful enough to make that sale, that's why we do the fair. That's why we put so much time in. Most people have no idea how much time we put into this to get it all set up and get everything going.
No, I know it's a lot of work,
so that we can get all those things sold on Saturday and raise some money for those kids. And I think most of them use that for their secondary education or their trade school or whatever they decide to do with their life after they graduate. But that's what it's all about for us.
Now, I know over the past few years there's been a discussion about the future of the fairgrounds, how it's going to look, and the facilities and so forth. I know you're part of the master plan committee, and can you kind of peel back the curtain a little bit and share with us some of the thoughts that the committee has on what we might see down the road from the fair?
Yeah, definitely. So we've kind of been, we've been talking about it and trying to figure out what the right way to go is for several years now. And for about the last year, or actually a little bit longer than a year, COVID, kind of messed everything up. But
yep.
The last year we've really been trying to hammer out a plan, and we've actually got a design for a new show barn, livestock barn and show ring, and also a new exhibit building, which would the livestock barn would replace would house all the livestock, including the horses, hopefully. And it's going to be a pretty large building if we can if we can get done what we want to get done financially and everything. It's going to require some fundraising, but we're really excited about it, and we're actually we've hired an architect out of Ohio, and this architecture firm specializes in equestrian facilities and fairgrounds. So they're very, very skilled at knowing what a barn, a big fancy barn, is supposed to be. And our architect is actually going to be here at the beginning of the fair. And the plan is to have some drawings and, I'm not sure what the correct architecture words are, but some sort of, pictures and stuff of what it's going to look like. And then I think we're even going to have a 3D model. And hopefully we'll have that. That's the plan, if he's able to get all that put together in time. So really excited to show that to the public and let everybody know that, what our plans are moving forward. And it's going to take some time to get there, but we think we've got a pretty cool design, and we're really excited about the future. And it would be, the potential to have like really large events. Not just the fair, but other events that the public would be able to use the building for.
That'd be great.
Buildings.
That'd be great. Yeah. Just a couple of camera positions and a tech room where we can set up all of our gear.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's going to be a lot more. Like electricity is always an issue at our fairgrounds, and cabling and everything. So it's going to be a lot better equipped for the current environment. I mean, our current livestock barn, the main part of it was built back in the 60s.
Yeah.
Or maybe even before that. I should know better than that. I know my grandfather actually had a large part in building that original barn there, but we definitely need some updates and some upgrades, and that's what we're trying to do it in a big way.
Yeah. Well, I know it has really served its purpose, and most people appreciate it for what it is, and it's well utilized now. But yeah, maybe some future updates would be fantastic. Got about a minute or so left. Is there anything else you'd like to mention or cover as we encourage people to get ready for the fair this year?
Going back to the livestock shows, that's my main focus. I love the livestock. I grew up doing it. My son did it. My niece is showing now, and I just encourage everybody that can come out and support these kids. They really do put a lot of work in, and we didn't go over the schedule and probably don't have time to, but the schedule is on our website, eddycountyfair.com. It has all of the livestock shows on there. And I guess I could go over real quick that we do our dairy show on Monday. That'll be the first one after the fair, right after the fair opens. And then we'll have on Tuesday, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. I'm going back to the old schedule. Monday or Tuesday evening, our heifer show is after the fair opens.
Right.
Wednesday morning's a rabbit show. The horse open show starts at the same time as the rabbit show, 8 a.m. Wednesday. Then the prospect yearling shows at 2 p.m. Wednesday. Swine show Wednesday evening at 6. And Thursday morning we do lambs and breeding sheep. And then Thursday evening we do the goats. Friday morning will be our poultry show, and then our market cattle show immediately following that. And then we have our the most fun of the whole fair is the lead class, where the kids dress up in clothes that they make and that friends of theirs make, and they have these wool sheep that they lead around, and it's just a really cute little deal. And that'll be at 5 p.m. on Friday. And then of course the sale will be Saturday evening at 5 p.m.
5 p.m. So, well, good. Well, we're out of time for this segment, but we thank you so much for your help and support, and best of luck with the fair this year.
Thanks for having me, Gene, and thanks for being so involved with the fair and getting it out there to the public. We very much appreciate KSVP.
And we're happy to do it. Good news is I've got Jeffrey Curtis in the other room and Haley's in here, so we're going to set the world straight about you coming up in the next segment. So,
oh gosh, I'm going to have to keep listening. Or maybe I shouldn't.
All right. Thanks a lot, Kevin. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Let's go to the news.
Democrat-dominated panel will seek to draw a connection between former President Trump and right-wing groups that took part in the Capitol riot aimed at preventing certification of the 2020 election results. Some Republicans are using the phrase kangaroo court to describe the hearings because the Democrats are allowing no GOP rebuttal to speak out in defense of former President Trump. Bob Agnew reporting.
President Biden departs later today for the Middle East. He'll be visiting Israel and Saudi Arabia. The latter, previously labeled a pariah state by the president because of its spotty record on human rights. The Russian President Vladimir Putin plans a visit to Iran next week. He'll meet there with Iranian officials as well as with the president of Turkey. On Wall Street, stocks have turned negative now. The Dow is down 1 point, the Nasdaq off 70, and the S&P 13 points lower. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Inflation is soaring. Prices are going up everywhere except Legacy Box. That's right. When our number people wanted us to raise prices, we said heck no. That's un-American. When times get tough, Legacy Box stands strong. Introducing the Legacy Box Inflation Busters sale. Not $15 a tape, not $12, $9. Yes, just $9 a videotape. We're in a race to save your family's recorded past from the risk of fires, natural disasters, and the decay of time. Don't let this summer's heat age your videotapes, film reels, and fade your photos. Legacy Box saves your memories by professionally converting all your analog formats to digital on thumb drive or the cloud. And it's all done here in the USA. Legacy Box is simple and safe with over 1 million satisfied customers. For a limited time, you can get started for just $9 a tape. Visit legacybox.com/LBox to get our $9 sale. That's legacybox.com/LBox to get our $9 offer. legacybox.com/LBox.
The killing of a woman at an annual political event in Sweden earlier this month, now the subject of a terrorism investigation.
Sweden's domestic security agency says the 32-year-old man who is in custody on suspicion of the July 6 stabbing is now suspected of terrorist crimes through murder, and the agency has taken over the investigation. Swedish broadcaster SVT has been reporting the suspect has links to a neo-Nazi group. The victim, a medical doctor and psychiatric coordinator for Sweden's municipalities and regions, was killed during an annual event in Visby, the main town of the island of Gotland. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
A Russian ammunition storage depot is apparently targeted by Ukrainian forces overnight, resulting in a massive explosion. It was captured on social media. News and analysis, townhall.com. We are getting a new unprecedented look at the final frontier, expanding our view of the universe.
The first image from the $10 billion James Webb Space Telescope is going to show the farthest humanity has ever seen in both time and distance. That image will be followed by the release of 4 more galactic beauty shots from the telescope's initial outward gazes. The images released Tuesday include a view of a giant gaseous planet outside our solar system, 2 images of a nebula where stars are born and die, and an update of a classic image of 5 tightly clustered galaxies that dance around each other. The world's biggest and most powerful space telescope reached its lookout point of 1 million miles from Earth in January. Bernie Bennett in Washington.
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen and Japan's finance minister have agreed to cooperate in dealing with the challenges posed by the war in Ukraine and promoting free trade, sustainable energy, and food security. More on these stories at townhall.com.
I know what you're expecting to hear right now, the announcement of today's KSVIP. Well, I don't have a name for today, and I need your help. If you know someone who needs to be recognized for being a very special person, call right now, 746-2751. Ask for Tana and schedule a KSVIP. Your special someone will be recognized at this time all day long on their day, and they'll receive a flower courtesy of Lovebud Floral in Artesia. So call today and schedule your KSVIP.
Just too white and nerdy. Can't you see I'm white and nerdy? Look at me, I'm white and nerdy. I wanna roll with the gangsters, but so far they all think I'm too white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white skills. I'm a champion of D&D.
Hey, welcome back on the Good Morning Artesia radio show. And we are rolling into the 8 o'clock hour, and it's Chamber Chat hour this hour. And I guess, Haley, you drew the short straw to have to be.
I always want to do this. I just, they don't let me come that often.
I know. What is it with that? What are they doing over there? And I hadn't seen Coxie in a couple of weeks. Is
She's been out. She went on vacation. And
what?
Yeah, so she's got some days off.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so she's out right now.
Well, good for her. I was thinking about her husband when I was up at NMMI last week. They remodeled Cahoon Armory.
Uh-huh.
And that's the gym facility. And they took the basement underneath the gym floor, which was just the weight room, and they expanded it, and the locker rooms for the high school and the junior college football are now in the basement.
Okay.
And it's just really impressive what they've done with the locker rooms, the team rooms, and where the teams can gather while they're not in the locker room area, and all the tech and the TVs and everything that's in there. And then they come out a ramp that goes up out of the basement up to the field level so they can come out onto the football field. And so I took a few pictures and sent them to Jeremy, but I didn't hear anything from him, so I thought either he was mad at me for even
I think he was probably out.
suggesting that there was something other than Bulldog locker room, you know.
There is nothing.
I said this to somebody. I said, it doesn't often happen because we are so blessed here in Artesia with our support for everything that we do, especially with the schools, the school facilities. But after walking around Cahoon Armory and how they added the ramps and the catwalk to get to the broadcast position, the VIP room, which is on the end of the gym floor, all glass windows looking out over the gym.
Wow.
I mean, we have our suites and everything, but this is in the gym.
Uh-huh.
The office areas, just everything they did, the locker room area, the weight training room, everything that they did. I said, it's not often that I will say this, but I think I found a place in southeast New Mexico that might be just a little bit nicer than the facilities in Artesia, New Mexico.
Only because it's newer. But then we're getting our turf, and
Yes.
it's going to be.
But it's not often that I can say that.
No, that is true.
I mean, I never can say that.
It is true.
And one of the folks there at the conference rooms, I was taking pictures of a couple of the conference rooms because someday we're going to remodel here. So I keep talking about it. I've been talking about it for 20 years.
Yes.
Someday we're going to remodel down here. And so I'm trying to get ideas of what other people have done in conference rooms and stuff. And one of the little conference rooms was just fantastic. We met in that little conference room. And but they told me that it was a $20 million renovation project. $20 million. They've added elevators, bathrooms. You know, it's just the wood doors that they used are not just your typical office doors, but they look retro with the panel inserts and everything. It's just absolutely beautiful what they did up there. And we're supposed to do the Mike's morning show from over there tomorrow morning, so folks will be able to go back and
Check
look
it
at
out.
that. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, shall we get the hour started?
Sure, why not?
We'll start. That's Haley, by the way, and we'll start with the weather forecast first. Okay.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Looks pretty hot today, mostly sunny, and our afternoon high around 100, maybe low 100s. Partly cloudy for the overnight hours, and our lows near 70, and then we're in the upper 90s and low 100s with sunshine coming up again on Wednesday. Wednesday night, few clouds down to 72, and then we heat up again on Thursday and Friday, back up to about 100 and sunny. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton. Let's see,
Another hot one today. We've got Let me get to the right app here, Haley. Right now we have 78 degrees and sunshine in Artesia. Humidity at 52%. Dew point is 59. Winds are northerly at 13. Pressure at 29.95 and rising. Our air quality is 65, so we have moderate air quality. And our sunset will be at 8:07 this evening. Sunrise at 5:59 in the morning. Let's take a quick break and we'll start our Chamber Chat segment. That'll be coming up next.
When I was young, I thought I had forever to prepare for retirement. But as the years went by, retirement got closer and closer. Well, I wish I'd have started saving 10 years earlier.
How you spend your retirement depends on what you do now while you're still working. We've helped a lot of area seniors prepare for retirement. Stop in and see us about saving for yours. Western Bank of Artesia. We're big on you. Member FDIC.
You know what happens in the spring. It's cleanup time, and AC&B, HF Sinclair, Navajo Refining, and the Artesia basketball team are at it again to help clean up our community. The basketball boys will come to your house and haul off items that you need to dispose of and have no way of hauling. The dates for pickup are July 16th and July 23rd. Just call 575-513-0143 and let me know what, when, and where. Take advantage of this free service and let's make Artesia clean and beautiful.
Forest Tire cares about your time. You tackle an endless to-do list every day. It may seem like a thankless job, but you know better. It's the little things that matter most. That's why you'll appreciate the enduring value of the Michelin Defender tire. Designed for doers like you, Michelin's longest-lasting tire keeps you on the go longer, so you have one less thing to worry about on your next road trip. Stop in today for miles of uncompromised safety and performance. Forest Tire, keeping you rolling since 1944.
You have a tax guy and a plumbing guy and maybe even a pool guy. But who's your car guy? If you can't answer that question, then let us help. At Guy Chevrolet Company in Artesia, we've been serving the automotive needs of the Pecos Valley and beyond for 97 years. And we want to be your car guy. So next time you start to wonder if it's time to trade your car, service your car, or even accessorize your car, then call us, your car guys, at Guy Chevrolet Company on the corner of 1st and Main in Artesia.
The Eddy County Fair is here.
Get ready, folks. The funnest event of the summer is fast approaching. The 77th Annual Eddy County Fair, July 26th through the 30th at the Fairgrounds in Artesia, New Mexico. There's always so much to do at the fair, with daily livestock shows and vendor booths with good food and crafts. Thursday night is Faith and Family Night with special concert guests, We Are Messengers. Friday night, it's the Smokin' Hot Bull Riding, followed by country superstar Aaron Watson, live in concert on Saturday, June 30th. Don't miss out on the big cornhole tournament, the chili cook-off, the ice cream competition, and the entertaining Jack Roche annual toss. It all adds up to great family fun. So get your gang together at the 77th Annual Eddy County Fair, July 26th through the 30th in Artesia, New Mexico. Ad paid by Artesia Lodgers Tax.
The Eddy County Fair is here.
Okay, that's the real version of Africa by Toto.
Yes.
Not that Weezer stuff.
Did Weezer do that song?
With Weird Al helping out.
Oh. See, I don't track Weird Al the way you do, so I didn't know that. I just know the Toto version.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little... they're doing a movie of Weird Al's life.
Oh, no.
And I think... was it Daniel Radcliffe? I think they hired Daniel Radcliffe to play Weird Al. And I'm still trying to... in my mind, I'm trying to... does Daniel Radcliffe represent... or would he play... would he play Weird Al?
Yeah.
So, Evan Rachel Wood is Madonna.
Okay.
Daniel Radcliffe is Weird Al. Rainn Wilson is going to play Dr. Demento.
Oh, see, that's going to be kind of fun.
Julianne Nicholson is going to play Mary Yankovic. And I think it's in post-production, so they filmed it. And so now they're putting the final touches on it and getting ready to release it.
He's still alive, right?
Oh, yeah. Weird Al's still alive. So, and he co-wrote the script.
Oh.
So.
Okay. Did not know there'd be... Did he have a really interesting life?
Well, I guess that's what we're going to find out.
Okay. I'm actually looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, he did a movie, he was really popular in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks in part to Dr. Demento and Michael Jackson and Madonna. Because he did a couple of Michael Jackson songs, and then Madonna reportedly called him up and said, "You need to do a parody of like a surgeon, or like a
virgin,
He did
like a surgeon. Yeah,
you need to do that." And so that kind of launched his career. And then he did the movie UHF. I get the two confused. And that came out in '89, and it didn't do very well at the box office.
Yeah, I don't remember a movie.
Kind of went down. So his career kind of stalled at that point in time. And then Nirvana came out with their album with the kids swimming in the pool, Smells Like Teen Spirit. And Weird Al did a cover of that song. And that...
I remember that.
They got his career going again.
Yep.
Had cameos with Dick Van Patten, which I thought was just funny.
Weird Al is something else. There's only one.
That's right.
That's good.
And nobody else can use that name either.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, if I said Weird Gene...
Oh, no, it doesn't rhyme. It doesn't flow.
It doesn't flow,
Yeah, it
and
doesn't.
you go, well, you're just like Weird Al.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard to repeat. So, well, how are things at the
But we
chamber?
might say Gene is weird.
Well, that's said every day. Oh, that's not a surprise.
Yeah.
So, how are things at the chamber?
Doing good. We're doing good. It's fun to be busy. I mean, we were always busy even during COVID, but it's just different,
Yeah.
So it's really fun to be back completely to normal and all of that. It's just funny how we refer to COVID times, though, in almost every conversation. When you're looking back on something, or what did we do last year, or, whatever, you just have those conversations throughout the day, not just in chamber world, but all the time. And you always refer back to COVID times. It's
Sure.
like an era.
Well, speaking of COVID times, I know you spent a lot of time as a chamber director I'm hearing that interference too, so that's
okay
on the air. You had a lot of Zoom meetings with other chamber folks around the state who are also trying to figure out how do we get through COVID.
We did.
Are you still communicating with
We
other
are,
chamber
actually.
folks?
So one of the really great things that came out of COVID was just that. So we started meeting on Zoom weekly, and then we started meeting twice a week because things were just changing so much, and we're actually working on issues quite a bit during that time, and trying to figure out how to help our businesses and the restaurants and what's open, what's closed, all of that kind of stuff. It was just crazy. And we usually had somebody on our meetings from the state. Very consistently, somebody from the public education department was there. And so we were able to give them feedback about what was happening to our youth and our families and that kind of stuff. So, and we were able to give them input about what was happening on the ground, when the stores were closed, but Walmart was open, and then the 75 people in the store and the lines, and, all of that kind of stuff. So those meetings were helpful, I suppose, if not frustrating. But the result of that has been that we continue to meet. So we're still meeting. We've pulled it back to twice a month now, so every other week. I have a feeling that as the legislative session gets a little bit closer, we'll start meeting weekly again. So sometimes we're trading tips for chambers, board management, membership management, whatever, just internal kind of the business of a chamber. But a lot of times we're talking about issues that are coming up. So like yesterday we were talking about paid medical leave, paid sick leave, the potential for another minimum wage bill to come up, and how to prepare for some of those conversations that we expect will happen.
Talk about another paperwork nightmare for small businesses. This paid personal time off legislation.
Yes.
that passed. And it was interesting in that because, like, for our business, we're a small business. We got a dozen folks that work here. And we've always been very accommodating with anybody and everybody on the staff when they've had take the kids to the school thing or medical appointments or whatever. But I worry about some of our, we're going to have to fight through it to tabulate it.
Yes.
It's not that we're opposed to it or anything. It's now something that we've already done.
Right.
That we've already been doing. Now we have to document it.
Right. And it's not easy to document.
Right. And I'm going to have Joby, when he does a ball game, is going to have to fill out a timesheet.
Yes.
Even though the only thing he does for us are the ball games.
Yes. So
we've got to calculate the hours that Joby spends doing the ball games so that he can get bonus time, even though he's not working unless he's doing a ball game.
Right.
Right? Am I interpreting that right?
It's so I sat through a webinar. So for anybody out there who has questions, give me a call. I can either get a hold of a recording of that webinar or share the information that I took, or, that I wrote down. A couple of things that really stuck out to me on that one were if you have employees who don't work regular shifts. I mean, so like, a lot of us work an 8-hour day, 8 to 5 or whatever. But for those who work part-time or uneven schedules, and I know there are lots of businesses like that, the time that you have to give the employee off when they take a sick day is the average of the last 2 weeks. And that's on you to go figure that out. So, I mean, it's math. It's not that big of a deal, but it's just another tracking system. The other thing that really stuck out to me was if the employee leaves, quits, but comes back into your employment within a year, they have to get all that time back. So you have to keep track of that time even after they leave. You have to, by law, provide information to all of your employees. So the state provided a letter, or you can do your own, but you have to explain what the benefits of this paid sick leave are, and then at least quarterly make sure they have an understanding of how much sick leave time they've earned. And then, of course, they start earning it immediately. So there's no what do you call it? There's no trial period and so other questions that came up in the webinar I was in was it seems like it would just be a lot easier to just hand them the hours. Like, okay, beginning of the year, here are all the hours that you'll earn for the year so that you don't have to continually track 1 hour for every 30 hour, whatever. But there's a downside to that, too, because if they do leave, you will owe them all that time, whether they have earned it or not.
Right.
So there's
you can't take it back.
You can't take it back. So if you gave it to them at the beginning of the year on the understanding that they would earn it throughout the year, giving it to them means they have it now.
Yeah.
It's in a bank, and you can't say
take it back, yeah.
Right.
And I think you can also pay off the employees at the end of the year. So say they don't take any personal time off. And so in theory, if they work a 40-hour week, at the end of 52 weeks, they'd have 64 hours of paid personal time. I think you can...
That I don't know. That's actually a good question. We could get an answer to that if somebody does have that question.
I think I read that in there. I think that at that time you can say, all right, here's your bonus. You can't call it a bonus because they've earned it. But again, it's a paperwork nightmare. In my opinion, this is my opinion.
Yes.
That are there people who are in jobs that have difficulty getting time off for important family things? Probably. Is everybody perfect? No. Do a lot of your bigger employers and your bigger companies already have plans in place to handle this type of thing through negotiated union contracts or just regular contracts? Yes.
Right.
So we're going to take a cannon to kill a mosquito.
Right.
In terms of the problem when it comes to the number of people that have difficulty getting personal time off or family emergencies and things like that. And so I think about the business that has one or two employees, that's primarily run and operated by the owner-operator, who has a lot of seasonal business.
Right.
That is going to have to start tracking all of this stuff, and for what ultimately, at the end of the day, benefit is it really going to do?
It's really difficult. And the list of reasons you can use to take that sick leave is pretty extensive. So people need to get familiar with that, because it's not all necessarily common sense. And whether you require a note from a doctor or whoever, whatever, all of that stuff has to sort of be it needs to be in policy, company policy, essentially, so that you're consistent across the board. The other thing that employers really need to watch out for is that I think an employee can come back on you up to 3 years after the incident in which they feel they were shortchanged on sick leave or were denied sick leave or something like that they could be owed. And so that's a tracking system that you've got to hang on to, and you need to make sure you're doing everything correctly, because employees, they do need the time off, and I do understand that, but you can be tricked also if you don't make sure you have all the right documentation in place, which is very difficult. Most small businesses don't have a whole HR department to keep you in compliance, right? I'm assuming you're probably kind of your HR director.
Exactly. Exactly.
So those are just little tricks that you have to be careful at. And I know a lot of employers will have, if an employee needs a day off, you have to find somebody to fill your shift. You can't do that. That's not allowed any longer. That'll be up to the employer to make sure that shift is filled, not the employee who needs the time off. So it's just a lot of rules and a lot of
it's going to make it. I'm thinking, like, take a family-run business. Mom and dad set up the business, and they got 3 or 4 kids working in there.
Yes.
The kids now earn personal time.
Yes, I
paid personal time.
So. I believe so. You cannot abuse your children.
Well, not this way anyway. But it's make them eat in the restaurant is what you got to do. But so again, I go back to the cannon and the mosquito thing. Is that we're taking a cannon and we're applying it blanket to every business everywhere. There's no minimum, like a lot of policies that a state will pass. You have to meet a minimum number of employees in order for that policy to apply, which thereby prevents your mom and pops and your small businesses from having to hire HR departments to comply with all this stuff. Not in this particular case.
That's right.
It does not matter. And so for somebody like me, 10 o'clock Sunday night, I'm driving out to the transmitter site. I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying this. I am not going to track my hours and go back to me and tell me at the end of the day that I owe me this number of hours for personal time off that I have earned because of all this other time that I've done. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. In some cases. And again, I'm not saying that there aren't instances or cases where people have had difficulty getting time off to be able to do some of the things. But it just, and again, I'm expressing opinion. You don't have to, if the job situation or the boss is that awful, there's lots of jobs out there, I would think, that if you're not getting treated the way you perceive to be fair, that you could maybe go to another place and get another job where maybe it's a better thing. But I guess that's just naive in my thinking. I'm not. And so that eliminates that. I don't know. It's just going to be difficult. I can just see the traps that are going to be laid and the problems that a lot of small mom and pops are going to have trying to be in compliance.
It's going to be difficult. The business or the industry that I really feel for is the restaurant industry, because they do have, it's so difficult to schedule shifts. I feel just looking at a restaurant, having worked in a restaurant once many years ago, I imagine that filling all the shifts, which we know is a problem right now, is difficult. And just the nature of how a restaurant works, the shift work, I know they may have some set shifts, but there's a lot of overlap, and it's just not okay, everybody show up at 8 and everybody leave at 5 type of business,
right?
Which makes it, I think, just daunting just getting everybody there to run the restaurant. Not to mention the fact that you've now added this layer of time management and time owed back. That's just, I can imagine it would be very difficult.
Yeah.
So anyway, we can get the information from the webinar, get the recording if anybody's interested in listening to it. It was presented by an attorney who deals in those issues, those legal issues, and read the law forward and backward and has interpreted it. So
yeah.
And that's another thing, is that there is some gray area still. Of
course.
So how, it depends on how, if you are going to be checked in on, I guess it would depend on how that regulator sees, interprets what you're doing. Are you doing it well enough or not?
Right. And a lot of that's going to depend on the complaint, if you will, if there are employees who think that they're not being treated properly under the law.
Yes.
And then they're going to complain or have issues that need to be addressed. And at some point, it's going to go to a state entity that then is going to come in and say, all right, even though the law says you don't have to have paperwork,
you kind of do.
How do you demonstrate compliance if you don't have paperwork?
Yeah. I would say to any employer, document. And that goes for unemployment claims, that goes for paid sick leave, just kind of anything that you do between any relationship between you and an employee. I think it's very important to document. And the other way around too. Employees, need to look out for themselves as well, make sure they're being treated properly, but I think documentation is important.
It is. So,
unfortunately.
So if you have any questions about this, and again, if you're just now hearing this or you've heard it but don't think it applies to you,
you're wrong.
You're wrong. It
does.
Applies to you.
It applies to every person who has an employee.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
Yes.
Including family.
Yes. Now, if you have contract employees, that's a little different, but
it is.
They are cracking down on that too. I mean, the definition of a contract employee is not that easy. It's not an easy standard to meet. So if you have a person that you consider a contract employee, but they're really only working for you and coming on a regular basis, the state would tell you that person is an employee and you should be paying payroll taxes and
stuff
yes.
to do their job.
So that changes things.
Yeah.
And so you just need to look out for that too. I think a lot of people over time have kind of used that as a little bit of a loophole or like a way to say they're doing them, we're doing us, but that's not really the case. And the state doesn't see that as loosely as some employers would.
Yeah, no, I've read some of that aspect of it too and talked to some folks about it. I'm like, really? Because again, we hire a lot of people to help us out with ball games. They don't work for Pecos Valley Broadcasting except when it's time, like Joby,
to do the game.
So
if they're employees, they are extremely part-time.
Exactly, and that's apparently what they are because of a number of things. I don't want to get into it on the radio, but I have one idea that I thought that I need to run past a legal beagle to see if to see if this can I do this? Would this help me with this particular dilemma that I'm trying to? Because we want to be compliant.
Right. Absolutely.
Let me state that.
You want to be compliant, you do want to be fair.
That's
right.
right.
And you want to be a good employer.
That's right.
And I think that is the intent of this law. It's just the devil's in the details.
It's like many laws that are passed by legislative bodies that think they're doing what needs to be done to address a major issue, but none of them really have to do this.
Right.
Because they're not generally business people that have to do this.
And there are always unfortunately, most of the time unintended consequences.
Yeah, so it makes it difficult.
Yes. So, if
I can take a break.
Okay.
Because it's
Take a break.
8:36, so we'll take a break. We'll be back with more, hopefully happier news coming up next.
Now for a Pecos Valley news update. I'm Jared Cirillo. A local teenager arrested and charged with multiple criminal counts in connection with the Sunday evening shooting of a store manager. The store manager fought with the teen after seeing him in the process of shoplifting gun ammunition. 16-year-old Jeremiah Martinez is accused of using the gun he concealed in his pants to shoot the manager of the Big R store in the 1300 block of South Main Street in Roswell. The store owner is in stable condition at a hospital today. A former New Mexico police officer charged with murder in a man's death during a 2020 struggle with officers did not properly use a chokehold that gradually ended the man's life. That's according to a prosecutor who told jurors Monday in the opening statements at the ex-officer's trial. Las Cruces police officer Christopher Smelzer had told investigators he had difficulty in applying the lateral vascular neck restraint on Antonio Valenzuela because the man kept tucking his chin. But he eventually did carry out the maneuver by sliding his arm under Valenzuela's chin when he lifted his head. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo reporting.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Investors looking for stocks to rebound ahead of key earnings reports. Casino stocks decline after Chinese COVID shutdowns. Robinhood shares lower after settling data breach lawsuit. Those stories next. A recession may be ahead. Retirement accounts especially vulnerable. If you want to protect your future, call the precious metal dealers at American Hartford Gold. They're the highest rated firm in the field with an A+ rating and thousands of satisfied clients. They'll suggest ways to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver. All it takes to get started is a short phone call, and they'll have physical gold and silver delivered to your door or inside your IRA or 401k. Tell them Lou Dobbs sent you. They'll give you up to $1,500 of free silver on your first qualifying order. So call them now. Call 866-611-1277 or text Lou, L-O-U, to 998899. Again, that's 866-611-1277 or text Lou to 998899. Investors are looking for stocks to rebound today ahead of the start of earnings season. The Dow Jones Industrial's down more than 160 points in yesterday's session. The S&P 500 down 44. Technology stocks dragging the Nasdaq down more than 260 points. Tesla stock lost 6.5% on the day. Amazon lost more than 3%. Crypto marketplace Coinbase Global lost 10%. Casino stocks lower to begin the week. Wynn Resorts down nearly 6.5%, and Las Vegas Sands Corp down more than 6% as well. The Chinese government is shutting down casinos in Macau for a week amid a COVID-19 outbreak. Robinhood stock lost 7% yesterday. The online investment company settling a class action lawsuit related to a 2020 data breach. PepsiCo and Delta Airlines set to kick off the earnings season tomorrow. Please join me 3 times each weekday right here on this station. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you, never gonna make you cry, never gonna say goodbye, never gonna tell a lie and hurt you. We've known each.
Hey, welcome back on the Good Morning Artesia radio show. And Haley Klein is here from the Artesia Chamber. We were talking about the lovely new paid personal time off law that went into effect July 1. Correct me if I'm wrong on something else.
Mm-hmm.
We got the note from Jessica on the tax rate.
Yes.
Did it go down?
It went
in
down.
Artesia?
It went down everywhere across the board.
How did that happen?
The governor did
that's
that.
right. She's running for re-election. I'm the opinion part of this discussion.
It went. Yes, it did go down just a smidge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't believe it. Because I got the note and I handed it to Tana and she says, "Well, that's less than it was," and I said, "Not that we don't believe Jessica." Because Tana will confirm this conversation. Not that we don't believe Jessica, but can you go on the state website and confirm this? And she did, and sure enough,
it did. The governor did that.
Yeah. So please, Jessica, if you're listening or you hear about this, it's not that we didn't trust you, but we were so surprised that it went down.
I know. It's weird. It's weird. Yeah, it did. It went down. I mean, just a smidge. Not really sure. Obviously, a penny saved is a penny earned.
Right.
But, in the big scheme of things, it doesn't make a huge difference.
Okay,
yes,
we're gonna
12 cents for every $100 you spend.
There you go.
Which
we can use to buy a half a gallon of gas.
12 cents?
Well, I mean, for every $100.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So if I spend $1,000, then I would save $1.20, which would pay for a third of a gallon of gas, or maybe a quarter of a gallon of gas.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know.
Yeah, 12 cents. So, like I said, the cup half full is a penny saved is a penny earned. But on the other hand, it feels great to see a lower tax rate, but in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't make a huge difference.
Right.
So everybody needs to adjust that starting July 1st, which was the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Make sure your systems are recalculating tax on all, whatever your sales and services, whatever you're taxing.
That's right, which we did here. She found the button in the system and said, if I change it here, will it change it everywhere? And it did.
And it did, as far as you know. Yeah, so, so that was actually kind of nice, kind of weird, kind of nice, yeah. So hopefully everybody got the memo and made that adjustment.
And I was talking about the paid personal time from the same people that brought us the body cam legislation that law enforcement agencies had to deal with and figure out, that's never been straightened out at the legislature.
Right.
Now we have the paid personal time legislation.
Right.
That is affecting everybody. What else do you hear? Going back to your conversations you have with your chamber folks, for the most part across the state of New Mexico, are we back open? Everything is pretty much running.
It sounds like it. It sounds positive. I mean, the other chambers are having their events and doing their things, and things feel pretty good. I'm really curious to see how the legislature will handle the legislative session this year, and hopefully it goes back to normal. It's just too hard. It's so hard to handle. It's hard to communicate, right? And you don't feel part of the process when you have to be vaccinated. Can you get through the fence? Can you, masks and the whole thing. It just makes it so difficult to participate in the process. So hopefully all of that will be different this year.
Now, speaking of the legislative session, the last session did the redistricting.
Yes.
So the election that we are going to have in November, now that the primaries are behind us, is to elect the people based on the new districts. So while Yvette Harrell is currently your congresswoman in Washington, D.C., beginning next year after the election, somebody else is going to be our congressional representative for Artesia and Chaves County, because I think we go to District 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I believe it's District 3. And to be honest with you, I'm not really familiar with those candidates. We'll try to get them here before the elections in November, so that we can get to know them. I mean, I think it's hard to switch the mindset off of Yvette Harrell, who's been around for a long time. She's come through Artesia a lot, and her field rep comes to our office periodically and has office hours and meets with constituents and all that. So switching gears to a completely different group of people is difficult.
Yeah.
So,
now, I think with the new alignment, that meeting will probably take place at the Atoka grocery store.
It's fine. They get a lot of traffic.
I'm saying it's not a bad place to have it, but unfortunately, Artesia will be in a different congressional district.
Yes.
And it's the same thing with the state legislative districts, although our districts in this part of the state really didn't change that radically.
Not too much.
Did they?
I mean, kind of around us they did, but not too much. So you probably know your legislators, and You know, the good thing about this area of our state is that we have worked so well with all of the legislators in our area, whether they officially represent our district or not. So if you've ever come to chamber events where there were legislators or, elected officials dinner or any sort of legislative meet and greets or what have you, legislators who don't officially represent us are often there just because they are our neighbors and care about the whole state and particularly our region. So we have really great luck and good relationships with all of them around us, and hopefully it'll stay that way.
Yeah. So. But that's one thing to do is you can either go to the Secretary of State's website and you put in a little bit of information about yourself, or you can go by the county sub office and you can request your voter registration information.
Yes.
And it'll come up and it'll show you what your congressional district is, what your state legislative House district is, and your Senate district is. And again, to avoid the confusion, it's not necessarily what it is today.
Right.
But it is what it will be starting the first of the year after the election when the new
working through the
legislature-
transition will be a little confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Because you're going to go vote and you're going to say, well, Yvette's not on my ballot. If you're in Artesia. Now, if you're outside of Artesia South, Carlsbad, Yvette's still going to be on the ballot. But if you're in, well, where's Yvette? I want to vote for Yvette, or I want to vote against Yvette. We know, whatever it is. That's not going to be the case. You're going to see two totally different names on there, and you go, what's this? I got a bad ballot. And it's like,
no. Yeah. My son just got in the mail the other day a new voter registration card. I thought it was weird that I didn't get one, and my husband didn't get one, but he did. But,
well, we got ours in June.
oh, did you? He just got his the
Right
other day.
around the primary time, and I thought it was kind of interesting that they came out either right before or right after the primary, and I thought, well, this would have been nice to have prior to the start of early voting, as opposed to getting it right around the time that you were going to vote. So maybe they're doling them out over time.
In batches or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to get registered to vote, if you are not registered, or you just want to change your registration for whatever reason, you have a different address, you want to change your party affiliation, any of that, you can come down to the chamber and we can help you with that. Also, to our businesses, companies out there, if you want us to come by and sit there for an hour or two and register people who come in and out your door, or register your employees, we'd be happy to do that. We do not put on any pressure. We don't tell people which party to affiliate with or any of that. We just are trying to make ourselves accessible so that people can think about it, for starters, and to just get registered. And there are lots of other ways to get registered, but we're here to try to help make that easy for you as well.
Sure.
It's just filling out a piece of paper. It doesn't take very long, just a couple minutes, and then we handle the rest, and you get your voter registration card in the mail some weeks later, and you're good to go.
Now, there's a pretty significant percentage of the population in New Mexico that's unaffiliated with a party. I think it's around a third.
Yeah, I don't know.
Of the population. And that really, I don't think that's changed yet. That really only impacts you on a primary.
Right.
But in the general election, anybody that's a registered voter is able to go in and vote.
And vote for whoever.
For whoever.
In or out of their party. That's right.
But so that's a question that will be on the form. Do you want to affiliate with a particular party? You've seen the forms. Do they list a whole bunch of parties, or is it a write-in thing?
No, they don't actually. They don't list a whole bunch of parties. It seems like you put an initial. It seems like you just put a first letter, if I remember correctly. And a lot of people will choose to be unaffiliated. The only problem with that then is that you do not get to vote in the primaries if you're not affiliated. Yeah.
Right. So that's so. And sometimes that has no impact on anything unless you're really wanting to support a particular candidate in the primary. And then there are a few occasions where, I mean, for the longest time, I couldn't vote for a sheriff in Eddy County because the sheriff's race was decided in the primary.
Oh, yeah, right.
And there wasn't a candidate from the other party, for the longest time. It's only been in the last few years that I've actually it's November and there's a sheriff on the ballot. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm going to vote for this one, you know.
Oftentimes in local elections, it is that way. A lot of that stuff gets settled in the primary. But things are changing. I mean, and that's maybe another thing that came out of COVID, if I would probably consider good, but maybe not everybody would, is that people have taken an interest in local politics again, which is really where things get done first. I mean, it's easier to know your mayor and tell him how you feel, tell her how you feel, wherever you live, and affect change in your community, and hopefully set a tone, help the mayor set a tone for what our community cares about at a state level.
Yeah.
Or even at the federal level.
And it's a good idea, too. Another reason to get your voter registration card or get it online is to, how many people are aware of how many city council's members represent them in the city council. Now, don't ask me who my city councilors are right now because I need to look it up. But so don't put myself in my own position. But city of Artesia is divided up into 4 council districts. There are 2 councilors from each district that are elected in opposite cycles. And so that's a good thing to know. And because those changed up a little bit.
They did just a tiny bit. One district in particular changed the most. Our population grew, so they had to move the boundaries just a little bit. But and really they had 2 different mapping options. One of them would have changed the districts, all the districts, kind of significantly. The other option kept the maps as close to what they were as they could and still meet the requirements based on they're based on population. And so they went with that. They went that route. So not a huge change, but one district, I guess actually then 2 districts changed quite a bit. But
because I heard stories of people that, they were ready to vote for candidate A, couldn't wait to go vote for candidate A. They were campaigning for candidate A. They get to the polling place, they get their ballot.
Not there.
They're not there. And again, they think they have a bum ballot. And in reality, the boundary had shifted just a little bit, and they were in this district. Now they're in this district, and so they had to make the decision right then and there as to who to vote for. And they may not have studied or researched or learned anything about the candidates that were actually on the ballot that they got. So this is a good time to verify what that where you are, who your representatives are going to be. And again, if you live in Artesia and you get ready for the congressional race, Yvette Harrell is not going to be on your ballot.
She will not.
There's going to be 2 other ladies that are going to be on the ballot. I don't know that there's any third or fourth
I
party
don't think
candidates.
so.
I think it's just the 2 main candidates, the incumbent and the challenger. And so you're going to have to do some research. And I hope you're successful because we want to work with you on having folks come in and
we'll try
interview them or do some kind of whether it's just on the radio or a meet and greet at the chamber, do some kind of forum or whatever where folks can meet these candidates.
we will try hard to get them here so that because we don't know them, so our community needs to get to them. They need to get to know our community. They need to understand what's happening down here too.
That's
they're
right.
going to represent us. So hopefully,
what's the? We're talking with Haley Klein, the Chamber of Commerce director, and we're just talking about business issues, of course. What is the retail mood around right now? Have you got your chicken yet?
My chicken?
That new chicken place.
Oh, no. The chicken. No, see, I've never even been in one of those ever.
Ever?
So,
really?
Ever in my life. And
I lived in Mississippi and Alabama and Louisiana that was like common.
I can hear the song playing in my head because the commercials. But
and the guy that founded the chain, I think at one time set the record for the most Christmas lights on a display at his house in Louisiana, and it was so bright they claimed that airplanes could they could see it from the space station. But anyway, but it's new to this part of the state,
right?
And I haven't been there yet. I still like a chicken sandwich at KFC or McDonald's, but and they advertise with us. But
hey, well, I support our chamber members,
of course. But seeing the lines over there has just been kind of crazy.
It's been crazy to see the lines, and it gives me a flashback to when Burger King came.
Yes, or Wendy's.
or Wendy's or whatever, and the lines are just crazy, and so I can wait.
Yeah.
I can wait.
So,
yeah.
but overall, what do you hear from small businesses and retailers, other than the thing we talked about at the beginning of the show? What are you kind of hearing out there?
Well, I feel like inventory is still a really big deal, and just receiving inventory. I was talking with one of the retailers earlier in the year, and just at the very first of 2022, and she was telling me that her suppliers told her, you have to decide what you want right now for Christmas, or you won't get it.
Wow.
That's just crazy. I mean, the planning a year in advance, and I realize retailers need to do quite a bit of planning for their seasons and whatnot, but to be able to sit down in January and say, okay, I'm trying to recover from Christmas, and now I need to plan for next Christmas, or I may not get it, is crazy. So that means, obviously,
because a lot of them used to go to market in the late spring and early summer, and that's when they make the decisions
right
at that. But I'm sure the supply
those things
chain
are changing now.
Yeah.
So that's a tough one that I've heard a little bit. Of course, I mean, honestly, I was in the store the other day, yesterday, and there were just no chips. I mean, the shelves were just, not completely empty, but I was just fascinated by that.
So there's two kinds of chip shortages. Is that what you're saying? There's the computer chip and the corn
just
chip.
Chips, all chips. Yeah, I was not looking for a computer chip. I just wanted
chips
to shove in my
potato
mouth.
chips or corn chips or something.
I think supply chain is still a real thing. It's crazy, and it's so hard to understand. But, so we'll be doing a bunch of retail push and restaurant push. I mean, it's just so important to shop local. I cannot say that enough. When you shop online now, you are paying a tax now that you didn't used to pay, and that is for a while it was going to the state. So now that is starting to filter down a little bit to the cities, and hopefully our city government is feeling that a little bit. But I don't know how well people connect the tax you pay on local, when you shop locally, comes back to, a portion of it comes back to our city. So when you want something in this city, think about that. I mean, when you're looking at our parks, when you're looking at our streets, when you're wondering about your water pressure, or just whatever, anything that you wish our city would do, remember that every dollar you spend outside of town is not contributing to the local economy. So, and I love Roswell. Roswell has some great things, and sometimes you need to run to Roswell. But if you can get it in Artesia, you should. And particularly with our local retailers.
Yeah.
They work hard. It's so hard to own a business. And supporting those local businesses does so much more than just give you what you need right now. It contributes to our city.
And your local employers are now providing and offering paid personal time off as an added benefit.
So there are plenty of jobs. Great jobs, yeah.
Yeah, there are some good jobs. And the more jobs that there are locally, the more people are hired locally, which would then encourage more businesses to locate locally. And
it feeds on itself.
It does.
It sure does. So every time you shop local, it does make a difference. Or eat local. I mean, we have really great local restaurants, and the chains are fabulous too, but we have a lot of really fabulous local restaurants that have their own special flair and flavors, and that's what makes a community neat is these local shops and restaurants. So
I don't want to have 2 times that I run long because of Klein's.
Oh, well, yeah, us Klein's.
So
we talk and we're always late. There are those 2 things.
Haley, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Good to see you. And call Haley to get those links to those clips if you're asking questions about that. This is KSVP Artesia.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Shunned by the West because of his war on Ukraine, Russian President Putin planning a visit to Iran next week. He'll meet with the leaders of that country as well as with Turkey's president. The White House suspects Iran is preparing to supply Russia with weapons-capable drones for use in Ukraine. Several 7-Eleven stores targeted in a deadly Southern California crime spree.
Police are searching for the same lone gunman in several of what Brea Police Captain Phil Rodriguez calls robberies that turned into homicides.
Not 100% sure, but we feel confident that it is the same suspect.
2 people killed, 3 wounded by the gunman who authorities have surveillance video of.
And we are asking the public's help in identifying that person.
The robberies began around midnight at a 7-Eleven in Ontario. Then Upland. In Riverside, a customer was shot. In Santa Ana and Brea, workers were killed. And in La Habra, 5 hours after it all began, 2 were injured by gunshots. I'm Julie Walker.
Surging crime, including drug use, prompting Starbucks to close 16 of its stores around the country by month's end. 6 locations in Seattle, 6 in Los Angeles, 2 in Portland, Oregon, and 1 each in Philadelphia and Washington, D.C., being closed permanently. President Biden says his pending trip to the Mideast is all about working to stabilize that volatile region. The president leaves Washington this evening. He will travel to Israel and Saudi Arabia. Mr. Biden previously called Saudi Arabia a pariah state because of its record on human rights. On Wall Street, stocks have turned mixed. Right now, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is 82 points higher, the NASDAQ down 27 points, and the S&P 3 points in the red. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Charlie Dombeck here from Key City Capital. As a practicing CPA for nearly 30 years, I have found that 80% of your ability to grow your wealth is dependent upon 2 factors: taxes and investment performance. At Key City Capital, we improve investment performance by diversifying capital into off-market investment opportunities in passive rental real estate and alternatives like asset-backed lending. We recover dollars that clients unnecessarily pay in the form of income taxes, creating a lifetime annuity of savings. We are a sponsor of passive, affordable single and multifamily residential rental investments, which are located in Sunbelt landlord-friendly states. These investments are the top choices in a rising interest rate and inflationary environment. They represent a store of value, protecting your capital from market volatility. Learn how we at Key City Capital can help you ultimately grow your wealth rapidly. Connect with me at keycitycapital.com or give me a call at 817-912-1569.
Despite fears of missile strikes on Kramatorsk, some residents of that Ukrainian city insist on staying put.
Across the beleaguered city, Valery Ilchenko sits under the shade of trees, working on a crossword puzzle. The 70-year-old widower has difficulty walking, and this daily ritual gets him through the day. Now the governor of Donetsk province wants its 350,000 remaining residents to move to safer places in western Ukraine. But like many other civilians who have come under fire in the nearly 5-month-old war, Ilchenko has no intention of leaving, no matter how close the fighting gets. He tells the AP, "I don't have anywhere to go and don't want to either. What would I do there?" I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Prosecutors in Poland's capital questioning witnesses after a 31-year-old man allegedly planted a powerful explosive in a downtown area. It did not go off. Townhall.com. It's a new conundrum for law enforcement in this post-Roe era.
When an officer pulled Brandy Batone over for driving by herself in a high-occupancy vehicle lane in Texas, just days after the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, she pointed to her pregnant belly and told him her unborn daughter now counts as a person. Batone, who was 8 months pregnant when she was pulled over June 29th, says she told him that with everything going on, this counts as a baby. In Texas, the fall of Roe put in motion a trigger law that would ban virtually all abortions and defines an unborn child as a living human from fertilization to birth. Keith Peters reporting.
The people of Japan bid a final farewell to the late Shinzo Abe. A long line of people filling the sidewalks outside downtown Tokyo's Joji Temple, paying their respects to the former prime minister who was recently assassinated. More on these stories at townhall.com.
I know what you're expecting to hear right now, the announcement of today's KSVIP. Well, I don't have a name for today, and I need your help. If you know someone who needs to be recognized for being a very special person, call right now, 746-2751. Ask for Tana and schedule a KSVIP. Your special someone will be recognized at this time all day long on their day, and they'll receive a flower courtesy of Lovebud Floral in Artesia. So call today and schedule your KSVIP.
They see me mowing my front lawn. I know they're all thinking I'm so white and nerdy. Just too white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white and nerdy. Can't you see I'm white and nerdy? Look at me, I'm white and nerdy. I wanna roll with the gangsters, but so far they all think I'm too white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white and nerdy. I'm just too white and nerdy. Really, really white and nerdy.
Hey, welcome back on the Good Morning Artesia radio show as we roll on through Tuesday, right? I think it's Tuesday.
Yes.
We got to
July
Tuesday.
12th.
Yeah.
July 12th.
Well, that's good. I'm glad I'm on the right day. It's been kind of a crazy last couple of weeks for everybody, but we're getting through it. Seems to me that didn't we just do the 4th of July?
Yes.
Yeah, didn't we blow up fireworks?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
My dogs knew that it was 4th of July.
So did mine.
Yes.
Yeah, I think everybody's dogs had the same
Yes.
had same issues.
Mine's not necessarily with the fireworks. It was the company.
No.
He gets too nervous.
They're not used to all kinds of people or being around. Yeah, we had a dog that did not like the fireworks at Bulldog Bowl on Friday night. So they'd launched the first volley when the team came out on the field, and the dog would disappear under the bed. And then about an hour and a half later, he'd come crawling out to see, and then the second half, boom,
Boom. There he goes.
he was
again.
gone until I came home. So
Okay.
it's kind of crazy. Anyway, I had accidentally, for some reason, had booked a phone call in this time slot with somebody else, and so I've moved them because I knew that we had the Ocotillo Comedy Troupe in this time slot for the lunchtime specials. And have they cleaned up all the water from the synchronized swimming? Did that all?
That was easily to clean up, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Very easy.
Okay, so it didn't make a lasting
no.
mess or anything like that?
No, we did have one mishap, but thank goodness we did have a lifeguard on
Yes.
hand.
Yes.
And
I
Miss
told her to
Melanie,
bring her floaties.
Miss
They make
Melanie
it one
was
size
rescued.
fits all. You know.
You know, and those the flotation devices are pretty cool. We bought a new air pump, battery powered air pump for tires, but it also has the hose with the little tip on it that you can use to blow up the air mattresses and
Yes.
stuff like that. And so I used it Saturday morning to air up the tires in the trailer and make sure everything was good, but I didn't bring it with me. I put it back in the closet. I get down to Carlsbad and for a remote, and the sales rep says, "Hey, do you have one of those inflators for inflatable?" And I said, "Yes, I do. Just not with me." So I need to remember from here on out, whenever we go to a radio remote, throw that in the back of the car in that way, because you never know when
Good
somebody's
idea.
going to say, I need to inflate a basketball or I need to inflate a air mattress or something like that. And you always want to be prepared, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So how's the reaction been to the lunchtime specials? Have you guys had nice attendance?
Yes, we did. It was really nice. We had maybe 20 and a lot of children, which
Yes,
was good because
it was nice.
This summer it seems like a lot of our skits are children orientated.
Yeah.
Is that the right word?
Yeah.
So it's been really nice, and to see the reaction on the kids' faces, it's really great.
They thought we were really cool. I
Yes.
even got a fist bump.
Oh, wow.
So-
Wow.
And I think that is what it's all about.
Right.
Is to bring these folks in, and even if it's just for 30 minutes, just to forget what's going on and come in for 30 minutes, see a smile, a giggle, a laugh, we have done our job. That
Yes.
always reminds me of Lainey Roundtree. And
Yeah.
I think if it wasn't for her, I know I wouldn't be in. And Danielle Moreno. She
Yes.
was the one that got me into it. And I know Melanie Dipple, and I'm sure Lainey got you into it.
My first play with the theater was a brown bag.
Yes.
They had asked me, I think it was Harem Scarum, and the director was Laura Holder. And I remember I was a sleeping beauty, and I was not beauty. I had woken up from a long
Beauty's
night's
in the
sleep.
eye of the
I remember I wore this huge pink wig, like bright pink wig that was very heavy. But ever since then, it got me hooked, and that's how I started. So
Yeah.
And Lainey would always say, if we can get them to laugh and forget what's going on, we have done our jobs.
Right.
And that's all we ask. We have had a fun time putting these on, and just to make you laugh. So come in, bring your lunch, and enjoy.
yes.
And that's all we do.
That's
and
right.
now that we've done it in the lobby, it's a lot cooler because we used to do them out at the park
That's right.
and out at the Heritage Walkway.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's 100% cooler,
Yes.
especially for us, too.
Oh, that's true, because it's going to be 100 degrees again today.
Oh, yeah.
And while the thought of sitting in the park and under a shade tree
Yes.
eating your lunch as it's melting away.
And we're in our costumes melting away.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's worked a lot better
Yes,
in the
yes.
Ocotillo. So tomorrow is episode number 3. And it's going to be lunch. No, what am I looking at?
That's
It
next
is that's next week. It is, well, see, what happened is I recorded it, and so it's already been edited so that I don't do that one again. So this is the one. So it's the second one in the series, and it's Mexican Trio.
Yes.
And whenever I see that, I know it's crazy. I think of the Three Amigos movie. But I'm wrong.
No, you're wrong.
I'm wrong. Okay.
yeah.
What's Mexican Trio about?
It's about Mr. Coyote, which is portrayed by
Kim Bennett.
Kimmy.
Mm-hmm.
Kimmy. And he is out looking for lunch.
Okay.
Ways of getting a quick lunch. And he learns that it's not easy. And he gets tricked by...
There he meets certain animals that he encounters.
Yes.
And
He
Okay.
gets tricked.
Yes.
He gets tricked.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And
He's not sitting in a drive-through at a chicken place.
oh no,
Mrs.
no, this is in the wilderness, the forest, whatever you want to call it.
Out in the wild. Okay.
Yes.
So he
Mrs.
keeps getting
Cahill?
tricked. So he's hungry. He's looking for lunch, but the and so he sees an animal
Yes.
who he thinks might be lunch.
Yes.
Yes.
But it's not.
But he gets tricked.
Yes.
By Tejon, which is a raccoon.
Okay.
By Rooster, which is Gallo, which is me.
And Tejon is Melanie Dipple.
Melanie Dipple.
Uh-huh.
And
the fox is
fox.
played by me.
That's right. You're
Okay.
the fox.
And narrator is Kelly Speckhart.
Okay.
So
Now, am I the first one to ask you the question, what does the fox say?
he says nothing.
What does the fox say? I forgot about that.
I know, that's been so many years
I
ago.
thought of that when I did that. I was like, oh,
What
man.
does the fox say?
So I'm not the first one to ask you that.
No.
Okay. All right. I'm the latest in a long line of people. It's an old joke. Stop it, folks. Don't ask that
It's
question
old.
anymore of Becky. She doesn't want to answer that question.
Anyway, it's really cute.
Okay.
It's fun.
So the gentleman is trying to find lunch, and he's running into all these animals, and he hears all kinds of
And
stories,
he gets
keeps
outsmarted.
he gets outsmarted by the animals.
Mhm.
Then the
That's true.
second skit is it Ms.
Ms.
Mouse Riding Hood?
Yes.
Now this sounds like a mashup of a couple of stories.
Yes.
It's Little Red Riding Hood with a twist.
Okay.
Yes, yes. And this, of course, Miss Mouse is Melanie Dipple.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's a wolf, and there's Grandma. You know, so you just have to come.
The wolf is played by James Bennett, and there's Grandma, of course, and that's Kathy Moore.
Kathy Moore.
And that's it.
That's it.
Okay, so it's
But
not a large
No,
cast.
it's not a large cast,
Mhm.
but it's a wonderful cast, and they do a wonderful job.
Okay.
And you'll just have to come and see it.
Is there a pig that blows down the house?
No,
Not
that
in
was
this
last
one.
week.
That was Big Al
last
Wolfdown,
week.
yeah.
No, that was last week.
That was last week.
and blew the house to Cleveland.
Like there's something wrong with Cleveland? What's wrong with Cleveland?
Last week was. That one was funny. That one was really neat.
So that is tomorrow. You start at
12:10.
12:10. Okay, so you got time to
Yes.
break away from lunch, grab
Yes,
grab
we
something.
always do that so people from work can come and get a seat or whichever. So
Yeah, and then 20,
Break away.
20, 25 minutes or so for the
10
show.
till 1.
And you'll be
Enough
For the
for you to
most-
get back to
Yeah.
work.
yeah.
That's
and
great.
still be laughing during the afternoon to
You'll just be
think
thinking about what did I just see
what did I just see there at the
Yes.
Opadillo? Oh my goodness. I cannot believe those people are so silly.
That's right. Now you've got two more lunchtime specials after tomorrow on
Yes.
Wednesday the 20th. It looks like Lunch with Eddie.
Yes, and that is myself, Maria, and Kimmy Bennett.
Mm-hmm. Or do we have more animals tricking Eddie this time into
There
lunch?
are no animals. They're at a restaurant. Two friends meet at a restaurant, and they have one crazy waiter who annoys one of the friends.
Okay.
So
That's
a waiter you don't want to ever get.
all right. Is that Eddie?
That's Eddie.
Eddie is the
And,
waiter.
and Eddie
okay.
is just doing his job.
He doesn't do it
You
well.
know? He
He annoys
does
the
it
heck out
as
of me.
best as he can.
Yeah.
Well, then he needs to
know?
find another job.
You know, jobs are hard to find, and you just have
Not
to
anymore.
Not anymore, yeah. So that'll be on Wednesday the 20th.
Yes.
And then the grand finale is the week of the Eddy County Fair, Wednesday, July 27, the right night for Rosie.
Yes.
And we're not talking about night as in dark, you know,
No.
like
No.
after
this
day.
is
Knight in shining armor.
Shining armor
Okay.
comes to the rescue
For Rosie.
for Rosie,
Yes.
of course.
Is Rosie a riveter?
No.
No. Okay.
No, she's.
That's another thing probably nobody knows anything like what I'm
Probably
talking
not,
about. Yeah.
No.
So,
Rosie the Riveter.
yeah.
But that's an idea. We might do some of those next summer.
Yeah. So tomorrow is Mexican Trio and Ms. Mouse Riding Hood.
Yes.
Then next week is Lunch with Eddie. And then on the 27th, the last one will be the right night for Rosie.
So choose which one you want to come to.
Or come
go
to all of them.
Yes.
Yeah. Go to all three that are remaining. And
Yes.
it sounds like folks had fun with what you did last week.
Oh,
so.
yes.
I think
yes.
so.
And the water
They-
is
they
gone.
probably
It's
laughed
fixed.
At our dancing.
Yeah.
I
So
know
no
we
more
did.
water.
All I know is that you had your play on Wednesday, and then Candace couldn't come in on Thursday. Something about the HVAC guys had to show up, and so I'm thinking that you guys
There
flooded.
might have been
Made a
an
mess.
electrical.
Yeah,
there
made a
might
mess.
have been an
We
electrical
cleaned up
thing.
what we could. So
Yes. We borrowed all the water vacuums.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, we tried to borrow all of them. So
We used
Yeah.
towels.
You
We
know.
used
I hope
Everything.
Melanie is all right.
buckets. We
You
saw
know.
her last night. She's
Oh, that's
fine.
right.
She's
that's
okay.
Right. Yeah,
She's
that's
good.
fine.
For now.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, we told her not to go into the deep end, but you know she never
I
listens.
told her there's one size fits all floaties.
Yeah, that's right.
I texted her, and she didn't bother to text me back.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway.
That's her own fault.
Yeah.
Sorry, Melanie, but it's
You know,
true.
you always have to have one of those in the bunch
There is.
that
there
never
is.
follows
Yep.
directions.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you think it's somebody else, but a lot of times all the fingers point at you. And you get accused of being that one in the bunch, and but it's just not true.
It's not true.
It's not true. It's somebody else. After the summer lunchtime specials are done, what is next for the Ocotillo Comedy Troupe? You guys working on thinking about what your next?
I believe we will have a meeting soon. I can't remember when, but I know it's soon. About what our next production will be in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
So we're working on it.
Okay.
But we're just trying to get all this done and everything. So.
Well, good. So come out to the event, but then this may be an introduction to somebody that may want to join the comedy
like
troupe.
I said, that's how I started. Laura Holder needed somebody, and I said yes. And I mean, we always need help backstage with costumes. If you want to do something simpler to get yourself warmed up, we're not asking you to jump on stage and say, here's a script and you have the main lead. You have 3 weeks to prepare. And that has happened, but we won't do that to you.
Good.
But that's how I started, was doing a brown bag or a lunchtime special, and I got hooked.
So is there anything else that you do to prepare or to make sure that you're funny?
We have been rehearsing with these since June.
Yes.
Once or twice a week.
Yeah.
Some memorization is involved, but not as much as a major production, because there's a lot shorter plays and stuff. So I know Maria is very creative and has made most of the set.
Oh, really? There is a set.
There is a set.
Yes, it's the wilderness. It's a forest with trees
forest,
and
a
logs, and
okay.
She is very, very creative.
I wonder if you could use some of the weeds that that look like Christmas trees. I wanted to set some of those up, and because there's a few of those around town.
Just go chop them down and use
them. I don't think
I
they
forgot
mind.
to mention that one of your own is going to be in one of our skits on July the 27th. Mr. Curtis.
Jeff is going to be in that?
Yes.
Well, he has not. If he did, I forgot. He's
going
drafted
to be,
him, huh?
Yes, we did. He'll be July the 27th, right?
In the right night for Rosie.
The right night for Rosie.
Well, good for Jeffrey.
He will be in it. We forgot to mention him.
Yeah, well, good for Jeffrey.
Yes.
I'll be sure, and because that's the week of the Eddy County Fair, and so he's probably going to make sure he's not videoing a livestock show that day. Did he not tell you that?
Oh.
Yeah. On Wednesday? See, the rabbit show.
Well, this will be at noon.
Well, the rabbit show and the horse show are at 8 that morning. And so, he'll have to. And then he's got the Prospect Yearling class at 2. So
this is at 12.
Okay.
So he can run in there and.
I bet he can make it work.
20 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure we can make it work. Oh, yeah. Because we do our morning show out there.
Oh,
and so we'll have to figure out a way to make sure that he's done. So what role is he playing in that right now?
I believe
he's
the mirror.
The mirror.
Oh, okay.
Walking mirror. Can we say walking mirror? Yeah, he's the mirror on the wall.
It's an enchanted play. So.
Does this make me look fat? Is he an honest mirror?
You betcha. Yes.
That's the last thing I need is an honest mirror, right?
Absolutely. That comes from Melanie Dipple. You betcha.
That's her favorite phrase.
That's really Randy's, her husband.
Okay.
Yeah. You betcha.
You betcha.
Yeah.
All right. That sounds good. Well, what else do we need to talk about today?
Just come, join us, have fun.
Did we say it was free?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you have to bring your own lunch.
Yes.
Unless you want dessert next door.
Oh, of course.
Yes, they do have confections.
Sweet confections.
Sweet confections,
Do I?
And the hard part, I've worked at the Ocotillo the last couple of weeks, sitting there in the lobby, smelling that stuff all morning.
Yeah.
Very, very tempting.
Yeah. It's
yes.
That'd be difficult to do.
Yes.
That'd be like there's a place up in Cloudcroft that makes bread and pie, and they have an oven in the back. Okay, that's where they make the pies and the breads. Do you know how they have that oven vented? It comes up, goes along the ceiling, and goes outside in the walkway. So it's like all of that aroma is vented out onto the sidewalk. You can't help but walk around and smell the fresh bread and the fresh pies.
yes.
And so I bet it's the same way with when they start baking over there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. You know, I had a friend once. He was going to open up a chitlin on a stick stand.
I don't know.
You know what chitlins are?
Yes.
And he said, yeah. He said, I won't have to advertise or put up a sign or anything. I'm just going to start cooking.
Mm-hmm. And that'll get the people
That'll
coming.
work.
Or running.
Yeah. Anyway, well, we just invite
I'm
the
just
people
sorry.
to come
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
support us. And just
And if you have any questions about the upcoming events with the Ocotillo, just contact Candace. Go on their website at artscouncil.com and she can help you lead the way.
Excellent. Excellent. So tomorrow, noon, 12:10.
12:10.
Yes.
The lunchtime specials with the Ocotillo Comedy Troupe. It's Mexican Trio.
Which is written, I don't know if we need to say these, but it's written by Lionel Wallers.
That's how you say that name?
I'm hoping.
Lionel, okay. And Ms. Mouse Riding Hood.
And that's by Gloria Cools.
And those will be the two skits that'll be performed tomorrow. Put a smile on your face.
Absolutely.
And we have fun doing it. So it's kind of therapy for us too. I know sometimes when I have a really hard day, I look forward to rehearsal because I know with the way we sometimes mess up our lines constantly, we can have a good laugh with it. So if we're having fun, it's like watching the Carol Burnett show.
Exactly.
They
And make
laugh
sure-
on stage. They know that they're having a good time, just like the audience can have a good time. So
Excellent.
And make sure we're going to mess up our lines.
Oh, definitely.
Guaranteed,
we'll
huh?
come back.
Yes.
We'll come back
Guaranteed.
with something. Oh, sure.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
All
We always
right.
come back.
Becky Turpinning, thank you, Becky.
Thank you.
Maria Almanza, thank you.
Thank you, Gene, for
Good to
having
see
us.
you again. And we will see somebody next week.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks a lot. We're going to take a break, open up the Zoom room, get Aaron in here, see what's happening with the markets. That's coming up next.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Looks pretty hot today, mostly sunny, and our afternoon high around 100, maybe low 100s. Partly cloudy for the overnight hours, and our lows near 70. And then we're in the upper 90s and low 100s with sunshine coming up again on Wednesday. Wednesday night, few clouds down to 72, and then we heat up again on Thursday and Friday, back up to about 100 and sunny. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Please pardon our dust as we move into our new facility at Artesia Animal Clinic. We've begun the process of moving into our new facility, which features more exam rooms, expanded surgery and treatment rooms, lab, x-ray, and larger kennels. We're so excited to be moving into our new facility, and we look forward to being better able to help care for your pets. Artesia Animal Clinic, now moving into our new clinic in the same location, 110 West Mahone, just north of Artesia Ford Sales.
The Eddie County Fair is here.
Get ready, folks. The funnest event of the summer is fast approaching. The 77th Annual Eddy County Fair, July 26th through the 30th at the Fairgrounds in Artesia, New Mexico. There's always so much to do at the fair, with daily livestock shows and vendor booths with good food and crafts. Thursday night is Faith and Family Night with special concert guests, We Are Messengers. Friday night, it's the Smokin' Hot Bull Riding, followed by country superstar Aaron Watson, live in concert on Saturday, June 30th. Don't miss out on the big cornhole tournament, the chili cook-off, the ice cream competition, and the entertaining Jack Roche annual toss. It all adds up to great family fun. So get your gang together at the 77th Annual Eddy County Fair, July 26th through the 30th in Artesia, New Mexico. Ad paid by Eddy County Lodgers Tax.
The Eddie County Fair is here. Innovation, service, integrity, and knowledge. J.S. Ward and Son Insurance Agency. Auto and home, life and health, personal and commercial. Bonds too, since 1925. We have the coverage for you. Innovation, service, integrity, and knowledge. J.S. Ward
Forest Tire cares about your time. You tackle an endless to-do list every day. It may seem like a thankless job, but you know better. It's the little things that matter most. That's why you'll appreciate the enduring value of the Michelin Defender tire. Designed for doers like you, Michelin's longest-lasting tire keeps you on the go longer, so you have one less thing to worry about on your next road trip. Stop in today for miles of uncompromised safety and performance. Forest Tire, keeping you rolling since 1944.
When you run a small business, your hands are full. PVT can help. PVT Business Solutions partners with local companies to provide high-speed internet, managed Wi-Fi, business phone systems, security, surveillance, and automation systems, and more. PVT helps your business stay connected with your customers. PVT Business Solutions gives you the tools not only to keep pace, but to grow and become more efficient. Find out how connecting with PVT can help your business grow by calling 575-748-1241 or visiting PVT.com.
So what a story Aaron has to tell. You were so dedicated to getting your report to the public yesterday. Tell everybody that bug story you told me off air.
All right. So yesterday, right whenever I was starting the market report, I had an itch on my leg, and I reached down and to itch it, and I felt there was a bug on my leg, in my pant leg, and I grabbed the bug and held on to it through the radio report.
Wow.
And then took care of it after we were done.
That is commitment, I got to tell you right there. And, of course, if you're watching online, you're getting creeped out by all the bugs that Aaron is showing you. So be glad you're listening to the radio today instead of looking at all those bugs. That's like a praying mantis that's leaping at you.
Yeah.
There's a fuzzy spider. And, I don't mind bugs. Not a big fan of snakes, as you can understand.
Yes.
Perhaps. Yes. I know when we moved to Alabama, we were down on the Gulf Coast, and that was our first real experience with the big black cockroaches.
Oh, yeah. The flying ones? Or? Well,
I did encounter, those were in Mississippi, and they would leap off the tree. I mean, they'd crawl up the tree, and then I guess to get down on the ground, they'd leap and kind of flutter their wings a little bit. That'll freak you out if you're walking down the sidewalk, you know. But we were cleaning up the Roswell office Sunday, and they'd gotten kind of, and those brown millipede things,
oh, yeah.
Those are nasty looking. Yeah. But I noticed that they had some boxes of like crickets and worms, edible crickets and worms that I don't know if they were candy or tricked or. But then you see TV shows where they make, an interesting thing with the bugs. And,
yeah.
It gets kind of crazy. Spiders, I'm not a big fan. I learned about vinegarones.
Oh, yeah.
And how not to get rid of a vinegarone.
And don't step on them.
yeah, that's right. And then you read about the bugs and you find out how beneficial some of these bugs are. I mean, it's not like you want to get rid of all the bugs.
Yeah, they're fine in their environment. If they stay in their environment and don't get into mine, we're mostly good.
That's right. That's right. It's all part of nature. Hey, I have a couple of birthdays I've been asked to mention.
Okay.
Today is Julie Almanza's birthday, and Betty Lopez has a birthday today.
All right. Happy birthday, Betty Lopez and Judy Almanza.
And then on Friday, Maria Almanza, one of the ladies we just had on the radio with us, she's celebrating a birthday on Friday.
Oh, very good.
I did not ask how old she will be.
All right.
Which I'm
25.
told. Exactly. You've heard of Yogi Berra?
Yes.
Okay, you know who I'm talking about.
Yes.
All right. I get worried because so many younger people now, when you say, I've got some Yogi Berra-isms, they go, who's Yogi Berra? Who are you talking about?
I've got one my doctor just told me a few days ago.
A Yogi Berra-ism?
Uh-huh.
Okay, it may be one of the ones I have on here.
It may be. Go ahead.
If you don't know where you're going, you might wind up someplace else. I've said this in meetings. Listen up, because I've got nothing to say, and I'm only going to say it once. Make a game plan. Stick to it, unless it's not working. He was a baseball player, so I'm sure some of these were influenced by his profession. Aaron, did you know you can observe a lot by just watching?
Oh, wow. Very wise.
When the waitress asked if I wanted my pizza cut into 4 or 8 slices, I said 4. I don't think I can eat 8.
That's the one my doctor told me.
You know, Aaron, you should always go to other people's funerals. Otherwise, they won't come to yours. I'd give my right arm to be ambidextrous. You could use this one.
Oh, okay.
If you don't set goals, you can't regret not reaching them. Which, when you think about it, is true.
True.
Yeah. If you're not feeling good, no, I'm sorry. If you're feeling good, don't worry. You'll get over it. I'm sure a lot of guys have said this. We're lost, but we're making good time.
I've been there.
I knew I was going to take the wrong train, so I left early. Nobody goes there anymore. It's too crowded. I've heard that one before. And then this one, you remember streaking? You may be a little young to remember that. That was,
I do remember that. 1
year or two, that was kind of a big deal. Ray Stevens had a hit record.
The streak?
Yeah. So it's kind of this craze. For some reason, people would strip all their clothes off and run naked across a ball field, or, you know, while a game was going on. So somebody asked Yogi if they were men or women running naked, and he said, I don't know. They had bags over their heads. So there's some Yogi Bearisms for you today, folks.
Very good.
What do you have for us today?
Well, I got a short story for you.
All right.
His request approved, the news photographer quickly called the local airport to charter a flight. He was told a twin-engine plane would be waiting for him at the airport. Arriving at the airfield, he spotted a plane warming up outside a hangar. He jumped in with his bag, slammed the door shut, and shouted, "Let's go!" The pilot taxied out, swung the plane into the wind, and took off. Once in the air, the photographer instructed the pilot, "Fly over the valley and make low passes so I can take pictures of the fires on the hillside." "Why?" asked the pilot. "Because I'm a photographer for cable news," he responded, "and I need to get some close-up shots." The pilot was strangely silent for a moment.
Oh, your audio went away. Your audio. Sorry.
How about now?
Yeah, you said so. The pilot looked.
The pilot was strangely silent for a moment. And finally, he stammered, "So what you're telling me is you're not my flight instructor?"
That was worth the wait.
Sorry about the microphone issue.
Oh my gosh!
Time's out.
Yeah, you're not my flight instructor. So they're they're flying around, huh?
He's flying around in the plane and doesn't have his flight instructor.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that went well. You know, there's something to
became the last thing you thought of.
Well, and I think you'd want a seasoned pilot to fly around areas where there's flames, because the fires themselves can create their own.
The air turbulence and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be good at that to pilot around those things. So.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't need a guy on his first 100 hours. You know?
You don't want to be there as they're gaining experience.
Yeah. You know, I had a friend of mine show me some pictures years ago. He had the opportunity a relative of his was involved in the airline industry, and he had an opportunity to do a flight simulator.
Oh, cool.
Takeoff and landing in a real honest-to-goodness flight simulator like they train pilots on. And, these things are millions of dollars, of equipment and the visual systems and the video displays and everything. And I said, what was it like? He said, my hands were sweating as we were getting ready to land. It is so realistic that he, he's an amateur pilot, so he doesn't fly all the time. And so here he is in this simulated jet airliner coming in for a landing. And he said, my palms were sweating. I was nervous trying to land this thing. And you're in a video game, basically. Right. And that'd be pretty amazing how the technology is advanced to that's how we can how people can train.
Yeah, gain the experience without risking lives.
That's right. If you crash a simulator, it's just
die another day.
Yeah, it's just Captain Kirk and the Kobayashi Maru, So. Well, good. Do you have anything else, or do we need to?
I got another one for you.
Good.
I walked into the biology lab and saw my lab partner dissecting an insect. I told him, I think your fly is open.
That was right before he got smacked, right? That's like Becky Turpening. She's playing the fox in one of these upcoming productions.
Oh, yeah?
And I said, so what does the fox say? And she looked at me like, that is the 350th time I have heard that, and I'm sick and tired of hearing that. I don't ever want to hear that question again.
And it's probably not the last time she will hear it.
That's right. And I kind of think, maybe I'm the first one to ask her that question, but I realize that I'm not, I'm not as creepy.
Nothing new under the sun.
Nothing new under the sun. That's right. So, and so there you go. All right. Anything else, or shall we see what's going on?
I guess I'm ready for the report.
All right, take it away.
Bugs in my legs, so I'm good.
Just on the screen behind you, and it is starting to bug me out. So I'm not gonna look at this. I'm gonna go look at my other screen, my phone screen.
All right.
All right. Here's Aaron.
This is Aaron Irving with LPL Financial, member of FINRA and the SIPC, bringing you your mid-morning stock market report for Tuesday, July the 12th. U.S. stocks seesawed today as worries over global economic growth dented investor appetite for risk assets, and the Wall Street looked ahead to what could be a difficult earnings season. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 0.43%, while the S&P 500 was up 0.18%, and the NASDAQ Composite was 0.19% higher. The Dow opened sharply lower before recovering those losses as the morning went on. Investors appeared to be shunning riskier assets such as stocks in favor of traditional safe havens such as U.S. Treasuries and the dollar. The 10-year Treasury yield fell 9 basis points to 2.9%. Beaten up technology stocks slipped today with shares of Tesla, Amazon, and Netflix down by more than 1% each. Microsoft lost 2.9%, while Salesforce was 4% lower. Twitter shares, which have been volatile after Elon Musk terminated his deal to purchase the social media company, added 2.6%. Airline stocks jumped with shares of Delta, United, and Southwest up more than 4%, while American Airlines rose 8.4%. Battered cruise stocks, Norwegian and Carnival, added about 5% each, and Peloton shares gained 4% after the fitness company announced it will outsource its manufacturing. PepsiCo kicked off the corporate earnings season today and reported better than expected quarterly profit and revenue and raised its revenue outlook for the year. Delta Airlines and JP Morgan Chase are among the companies slated to report later this week. Market participants are watching for downside risk to earnings forecasts as companies grapple with rising interest rates and greater inflationary pressures, and Wall Street debates the likelihood of a recession. The dollar index, which measures the U.S. currency's performance against 6 other currencies, popped 0.5%. That gain put the euro on the brink of parity with the dollar as recession fears grow in Europe. Currently, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 103 points at 31,277. The S&P 500 is 1 point lower at 3,853. And the NASDAQ Composite is down 16 points at 11,355. West Texas Intermediate crude is down $7.16 a barrel to $96.93. Stocks of local interest, HF Sinclair is down 44 cents a share to $45.23. Walmart is up 76 cents to $126.24 a share. Duke Energy is up 42 cents a share to $108.38. And Apple is $2.72 higher at $147.59 a share. This is Aaron Irving with Oakley Irving Wealth Management, serving business owners and energy industry professionals in the Pecos Valley and beyond. You can find us at oiwealth.com or at our offices in Artesia and Carlsbad. You can call us at 575-887-7075. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. Securities are offered through LPL Financial, member of FINRA, and the SIPC.
All right, Aaron. And apparently Ryder's mad at me now because I had told Ryder we were going to put him on the radio today.
Oh.
And I had forgotten, for some reason, to put the comedy troupe in this time slot, prior to this one.
Oh.
And I tried to let Ryder know, and he didn't answer his phone, and he didn't respond to my texts. And so now I get a text, and his feelings are hurt because I had double booked and had to move Ryder. So if you see Ryder, tell him there's something. Blame it on the iPhone. Say it's Tim Cook. It's Apple. It's not my fault. I'm not. It couldn't be my fault. And so we'll get him figured out here in the next day or two. So okay.
All right. Very good.
All right, Aaron. Get a hold of the bug man.
All right. Take care.
Thanks a lot. We're going to get Sean Hannity's thoughts on the radio here for you. Then June Marie is going to be checking in from the Literacy Council next.
On the right side, this is the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
Biden apparently last week, following reports of our emergency strategic petroleum reserves, we're sending oil to China. More than 5 million barrels of oil released from the strategic petroleum reserves have been diverted to European and Asian nations instead of U.S. refineries. He's even dumber than I thought, if it's even him making the decision. And on top of that, Wall Street Journal had an interesting piece out, how our EPA has now announced that they may soon deem parts of the Permian Basin in Texas and New Mexico in, quote, non-attainment because of ozone standards.
From coast to coast, from sea to shining sea, it's the Sean Hannity Show.
All right, it's summertime, and if your project to-do list looks anything like mine, it's probably pretty long. You can stay cool, save up to 40% off site-wide at Blinds.com, and ordering online does not mean sacrificing style or service. At Blinds.com, they have premium selections of shades and shutters and drapes and so much more. They have outdoor shades. Just go to Blinds.com right now, save up to 40% off site-wide, up to 40% off site-wide at Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hey, welcome back on the Good Morning Artesia radio show. We're going to conclude our Tuesday broadcast chatting with June Marie Avery. Well, is it Avery? I forgot to ask. You went off and got married here, didn't you, June Marie?
Yes, I did. I did. I married a lovely man named Dean Massey, and for work, I'm still going to be June Marie Avery. You know, when you've been something for 68 years, it's kind of hard to change. But when we're together or whatever, we'll be Mr. and Mrs. Massey.
Well, congratulations to you, and hope
it's been a month today. We survived the first month.
Well, that's usually the tough one there. So good for you. Did you get to go anywhere for a honeymoon, or did you just kind of hang around New Mexico?
Well, we just hung around New Mexico, but we're going on a cruise around Christmas time.
Oh, okay.
We're saving toward that. But, yeah, we're going to do, it's just from Galveston down the Mexican Riviera, but it's the fun of going on a cruise, that is what my favorite part. So we're going to do, this will be Dean's first cruise, so we're pretty excited about that.
Well, they are kind of fun. Of course, it's been a long time since Lon and I went on a cruise, and I don't know if it's changed much since then, but the one thing I do remember, you will not be hungry. If you're hungry
if you
on
go hungry, there's something wrong with you.
That's right. So that's
one of the first ones I went on, there was this cute T-shirt, but I didn't see it till the end of the cruise, so they were out of them, except for youth sizes, and I could maybe cobble together 4 or 5. But anyway, it had this woman laying on a deck chair, and the waiter is bringing her a drink, and it says, "I survived a Caribbean cruise." It looks like it was really tough,
There you go. Well, so you're back and taking care of the Literacy Council, and kind of bring us up to date. What's happening this summer?
Well, we just ended our program year the end of June, and now we're starting the new program year from July to next June. Our years run from the middle of the year to the middle of the next year, and we finished our reports, and we had a very productive year last year. We had, interestingly, it's usually like 2/3 English learners and 1/3 GED students, but this year it was more like 65% GED students and 35 English language learners percent.
Interesting.
And so, and we had quite a few successes with the GED, but then there's some of them that come in and take the test, the pre-test tells us where they need to work, and then we never see them again. It's like they did the test, and that's all they need to do.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's not going to get you your GED, sorry. But, yeah, it's doing really well. We had a little bit of a fundraiser in June, and the people of Artesia were very generous, and for the most part, now we'll still need ongoing donations, but we're doing, we've got the big costs at the beginning of the year covered, and we're doing really well with that. Some of our students are taking a break and not coming during the summer, and I have some students that are coming, during the summer. So it's kind of it's not as busy with students as it is during the school year, but I'm busy with paperwork. If anybody wants to come and help me with the paperwork, I will find them a place to sit and some paper and a computer to work on. I really could.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, if you do find somebody and they do a couple hours for you and they want to come do a couple hours for Tana here,
she'd like that too.
Yes, absolutely. That would be a big benefit in so many ways. So
right.
I know in the past your funding, obviously the private donations are important, but you did get some from like the United Way and the Community Chest. Since the Artesia Community Chest closed down a while back, has United Way kind of stepped up? Are you getting any help from the state?
We don't get any help directly from the state, but we do get help from an organization that is contracted with the state to manage and supervise the donations. And we did get our money from them this last year, and they're indicating that we may get a little more this year. I'm not going to say it too loud.
Knock on wood, or I'm knocking on the...
Yeah, and we have done really well with the people of Artesia. Have really stepped up when the state kind of dropped out of it and we had to go other ways. The people of Artesia have helped us keep the program going, And one thing I'd like I could use from my people from Artesia is this would be the ideal time if you're thinking about being a tutor to come, and then I can give you the materials to study on your own pace online, and then you could then figure out when you want to work with students, and we can make that possible. We even have some that I have tutored at the library after we close at 4, but of course they close at 6, but that's still 2 hours, you know.
That's right.
Hour and a half anyway, probably, that you could work with somebody. And then of course our board, I'd like eventually to have a larger board. Right now we've just got the 3, but I'd like to have maybe 2 more board members if somebody's interested in that. It's always interesting, and you know, sometimes, you know, it's very seldom is it more than just an hour meeting once a month. So it's not a real hardship, but it is very important for me. You know, it gives me somebody to talk to about whether we should buy this material or that material and things like that. So I could really use both of those categories of volunteers.
Sure.
And you know, those things look good on your resume. Don't forget that. You know.
Oh yeah.
Makes you look more impressive.
Well,
anyway, yeah.
And let me ask you about the tutors, because you have both the GED program and then you have the
English program.
English program. I don't know if it's still called English as a second language or what they're calling it nowadays.
English language learning.
ELL instead of ESL.
Right. It's been ESL for maybe 80 years, and then all of a sudden they said, and the reason for it just kind of blows me away, is because it might not be their second language. It's like, oh, okay.
So
that really makes.
We're doing a lot of this. Let's take a cannon to kill a mosquito. You know, we're trying to fix. I'm sure there are some people that fit that category, but that's not the vast majority of the candidates that you help in the program. But you know,
it's like, you know, and change it for something that when you say ESL, people know, to ELL, and people go, "What's that?"
Yeah. Well, you know, years ago they changed when I first got into radio. The alerts that we heard letting us know that, you know, this is what you're going to hear if there's an emergency. It was called the Emergency Broadcast System.
Right, I remember that.
The EBS.
I can remember. Yeah, I can even remember on television when at the end of the programming, it would go off and it would have something emblem about the emergency broadcast system.
That's right. But as we advanced and we improved and technology changed, it became the Emergency Alert System, or EAS. But it's been a long enough time now that only old timers like me remember EBS, and everybody nowadays, you know, thinks of the EAS. But we used to have to do this every week. We used to, you know, if we had to read the message, you know, the attention sound you just heard, had this been an actual emergency, the attention sound you just heard would have been followed by important information for you and the members of your community. This station serves the Artesia area. And now, that only happens once a month. That announcement plays. The rest of the time, you just hear this blop, 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 blop.
You know,
blop,
they're practicing.
Blop, you know, and that's all you hear, and you're just supposed to know that's what it is. So
right. Well, it's expecting more of people, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes, but Artesia, you can be proud of the 5 people that completed their GED. You can be proud of just a couple of citizens, not because they didn't do well, but because I only had a couple studying for citizenship this year.
Okay.
But and of course, many have improved their English skills to the point I have a group that are transitioning from English as a second language to the GED program now.
Great.
So
and Jim, you've mentioned this before, the job opportunities for folks, the income opportunities for folks improve tremendously if you can learn to read and write.
Right.
And you can learn to speak English in a way that you can communicate with the people that you work with and you work for.
Right, exactly. Those skills are marketable for your lifetime, and you will never regret. I don't think anybody's ever regretted doing the work.
Sure.
You know, it's well worth it, and plus, you know, they could take your car, they can even take your house, sadly, but they can't take that knowledge that you packed into your brain.
That's right. Now, as far as being a tutor, does it help to be able to speak Spanish to be a tutor?
Not required.
It's not required.
No,
okay.
It's not required. You do need to speak English.
What you talking about? I ain't no English speaker. Come on, man.
I speak American, yeah. But seriously, and I prefer for the people working with the GED to have their high school diploma or GED. But you know, it's not. My ideal would be each one teach one.
Okay.
You know,
gotcha.
and for the tutors, but because I don't expect them to do like I do and tutor all day long.
Right.
But you know, it's definitely a need for the community. It's valuable to the community, and you know, we like to think that we're helping the whole community when we help those that come to us for help.
Absolutely. So if folks want to learn more about either taking the GED courses or the other courses that you have available, citizenship courses, or they want to inquire about being a tutor, or maybe they want to make a contribution of some kind, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Well, for all of those, you can go on to the website and read about the different courses. You can fill out an application for either a student or a tutor, and then there's a place. On every page there's a link to a site called Givelify, and you can set up and you can make donations through the Givelify link, and also. You can set up like if you'd rather give a small monthly donation, you know, that would be greatly appreciated, just as much as one lump sum. You know,
Okay.
It's all you know. It would always be helpful to have an ongoing, you know, sources of even just a little bit of income coming in like that can really make a difference. And of course, you can reach us by phone, which is 575-748. 9740. And remember, if you let it ring 4 times, it will forward to my cell phone, and so I will pick it up. Hope you don't call it like 3 o'clock in the morning, but
now, do you still have a program with the Amazon if people buy things through Amazon?
Yes, it's called Amazon Smile, and you go to the charities list and you look for our name, or you type in Artesia Literacy Council, and you can set it up to when you buy something at no cost to you. Amazon gives us, I don't remember, it's kind of a weird amount. It's like a half of a cent per $100 you spend or something like that. No, but it helps. It helps.
Sure.
You know, even if it's just for me to turn around and use that for supplies at Amazon, it's a great help.
Yeah. So that's
yes,
another way to help
think
too.
about us. Yeah. Think about us as and the needs. We're sadly seeing this year. We saw a lot of young people that when they went back to the regular classes at the high school, were told they were going to have to repeat a year, and they wanted to be finished with their education when they expected to be finished with it. So we got students over here finishing their, you know, taking the GED instead of finishing at the high school.
Yeah.
Not you know, there were not many from Artesia High, but there's been some of the other institutions they had a lot of students in that fix. But we appreciate Artesia. We are proud to be a part of it. We will be ordering T-shirts this this year to celebrate both our students. And if anybody else wants one, when we get that order prepared, I will give people the chance to buy one of our T-shirts. We're thinking they may be purple this year, although it's also my 50th class reunion in September. Maybe I should go with orange.
Yeah, well, it's always a thought. So, all right. June Marie, thank you so much. We appreciate your time, and keep up the good work, and let us know if there's anything else we can do to help you guys out.
Well, you do a lot, and I appreciate KSVP. I appreciate you, Artesia, too. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. That's going to wrap up the show for today. Thank you so much for being with us. Hope we had some information that you found informative, useful, or at least put a smile on your face. And we'll do this again tomorrow, which is Wednesday. So coming up on the show tomorrow, we're going to have Mr. Phipps or someone from the schools. We'll have the mayor, John Henry. We'll have our Central Valley Electric report, and a whole lot more. That'll be coming up on the show 7 to 10 tomorrow morning here on KSVP Artesia, K229AS Artesia. It's 10:06. Let's turn things